Maecenas At. Maecenas, born of monarch ancestors, the shield at once and glory of my life. There are who joy them in the Olympic strife, and love the dust they gather in the course. The goal by hot wheels shunned, the famous prize, exalt them to the gods that rule mankind. This joys, if rabbles fickle as the wind, through triple grade of honors bid him rise, that, if his granary has stored away of Libya's 1,000 floors they yield entire, the man who digs his field as did his sire, with honest pride no Attalus may sway, by proffered wealth to tempt Myrtoan seas, the timorous captain of a Cyprian bark, the wind that makes Icarian billows dark. The merchant fears and hugs the rural ease of his own village home, but soon, ashamed of penury, he refits his battered craft. There is who thinks no scorn of Massic draught, who robs the daylight of an hour unblamed, now stretched beneath the arbut on the sword, now by some gentle river's sacred spring, some love the camp, the clarion's joyous ring, and battle by the mother's soul abhorred. See, patient waiting in the clear, keen air, the hunter, thoughtless of his delicate bride, whether the trusty hounds a stag have eyed, or the fierce Marsian boar has burst the snare. To me the artist's mead, the ivy wreath, is very heaven, me the sweet cool of woods, where satyrs frolic with the nymphs, secludes from rabble rout. So but Euterpe's breath fail not the flute, nor Polyhymnia fly averse from stringing new the lesbian lyre. O write my name among that minstrel choir, and my proud head shall strike upon the sky. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Read for LibriVox.org by Jim McDougall. Iam Satis Terrace. Enough of snow and hail at last. The sire has sent in vengeance down. His bolts at his own temple cast, appalled the town, appalled the lands, lest Pyrrha's time return with all its monstrous sights. When Proteus led his flocks to climb the flattened heights, when fish were in the elm tops caught, where once the stock dove wont to bide, and does were floating, all distraught, adown the tide. Old Tiber, hurled in tumult back, from mingling with the Etruscan main, has threatened Numa's court with wrack and Vesta's fane. Roused by his Ilia's plaintive woes, he vows revenge for guiltless blood, and spite of Jove his banks o'erflows, uxorious flood. Yes, fame shall tell of civic steel, that better Persian lives had spilt, to youths whose minished numbers feel their parents' guilt. What god shall Rome invoke to stay her fall? Can suppliants overbear the ear of Vesta, turned away from chant and prayer? Who comes commissioned to atone for crime like ours, at length appear, a cloud round thy bright shoulders thrown, Apollo seer, or Venus, laughter-loving dame, round whom gay loves and pleasures fly? Or thou, if slighted sons may claim a parent's eye, O weary, with thy lawn game, who lovest fierce shouts and helmets bright, and Moorish warriors' glance of flame, or ere he smite. Or Maia's son, if now awhile, in youthful guise we see thee here, Caesar's avenger, such the style thou deignest to bear. Late be thy journey home, and long thy sojourn with Rome's family, nor let thy wrath at our great wrong lend wings to fly. Here take our homage, chief and sire, here wreathe with bay thy conquering brow, and bid the prancing Mede retire, our Caesar thou. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sic Te Diva. Thus may Cyprus' heavenly queen, thus Helen's brethren, stars of brightest sheen, guide thee. May the sire of wind each truant gale, save only Zephyr, bind. So do thou, fair ship, that owest Virgil thy precious freight to Attic coast, safe restore thy lone and whole, and save from death the partner of my soul. Oak and brass of triple fold encompassed sure that heart, which first made bold to the raging sea to trust a fragile bark, nor feared the Afric gust with its northern mates at strife, nor Hyads' frown, nor south wind fury rife, mightiest power that Hadrian knows, willed see the waves to madden or compose. What had death in store to awe those eyes that huge sea beasts unmelting saw the swelling of the surge, and high Ceraunian cliffs the seamen scourge? Heaven's high providence in vain has severed countries with the estranging main, if our vessels nevertheless with reckless plunge that sacred bar transgress. Daring all, their goal to win, men tread forbidden ground and rush on sin. Daring all, Prometheus played his wily game, and fire to men conveyed. Soon as fire was stolen away, pale fever's stranger host and wan decay swept over earth's polluted face, and slow fate quickened death's once halting pace. Daedalus the void air tried on wings, to humankind by heaven denied. Acheron's bar gave way with ease before the arm of labouring Hercules. Naught is there for man too high. Our impious folly e'en would climb the sky, braves the dweller on the steep, nor lets the bolts of heavenly vengeance sleep. Note to Book I, Ode 3. The Estranging Main. The unplumbed, salt, estranging sea. Matthew Arnold. Line 32. And slow fate quickened death's once halting pace. The commentators seem generally to connect necessitas with leti. I have preferred to separate them. Necessitas occurs elsewhere in Horace, Book I, Ode 35, verse 17, Book III, Ode 1, verse 14, Ode 24, verse 6, as an independent personage, nearly synonymous with fate, and I do not see why she should not be represented as accelerating the approach of death. End of note. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Sonia. Solvitur A hiems. The touch of Zephyr and of spring has loosened winter's thrall. The well-dried keels are wheeled again to sea. The ploughman cares not for his fire, nor cattle for their stall, and frost no more is whitening all the lea. Now Cytherea leads the dance, the bright moon overhead, the Graces and the Nymphs together knit, with rhythmic feet the meadow beat, while Vulcan, fiery red, heats the Cyclopean forge in Aetna's pit. 'Tis now the time to wreathe the brow with branch of myrtle green, or flowers just opening to the vernal breeze. Now Faunus claims his sacrifice among the shady treen, lambkin or kidling, which soever he please. Pale Death, impartial, walks his round, he knocks at cottage gate and palace portal. Sestius, child of bliss, how should a mortal's hopes be long when short his being's date? Lo here, the fabulous ghosts, the dark abyss, the void of the Plutonian hall, where soon as ever you go, no more for you shall leap the auspicious die to seat you on the throne of wine, no more your breast shall glow for Lycidas, the star of every eye. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Quis multa gracidis. What slender youth, besprinkled with perfume, courts you on roses in some grotto's shade. Fair Pyrrha, say, for whom your yellow hair you braid, so trim, so simple? Ah, how oft shall he lament that faith can fail, that gods can change, viewing the rough black sea with eyes to tempests strange, who now is basking in your golden smile, and dreams of you still fancy free, still kind, poor fool, nor knows the guile of the deceitful wind. Woe to the eyes you dazzle without cloud untried! For me they show in yonder fane my dripping garments, vowed to him who curbs the main. Note to Book I, Ode 5. I have ventured to model my version of this ode to some extent on Milton's The High Water Mark, as it has been termed, which Horatian translation has attained. I have not, however, sought to imitate his language, feeling that the attempt would be presumptuous in itself, and likely to create a sense of incongruity with the style of the other odes. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. By Sonia. Scriberis vario. Not I, but Varius, he of Homer's brood, a tuneful swan, shall bear you on his wing. Your tale of trophies, won by field or flood, mighty alike to sing. Not mine such themes, Agrippa, no, nor mine to chant the wrath that filled Pelides' breast, nor dark Ulysses' wanderings o'er the brine, nor Pelops' house unblessed. Vast were the task, I feeble. Inborn shame, and she who makes the peaceful lyre submit, forbid me to impair great Caesar's fame and yours by my weak wit. But who may fitly sing of Mars arrayed in adamant mail, or Marion, black with dust, of Troy, or Tydeus' son by Pallas' aid, strong against gods to thrust? Feasts are my theme, my warriors maidens fair, who with pared nails encounter youths in fight. Be fancy free or caught in Cupid's snare, her temper still is light. Note to Book I, Ode 6. Who with pared nails encounter youths in fight. I like Ritter's interpretation of Satis, cut sharp, better than the common one, which supposes the paring of the nails to denote that the attack is not really formidable. Satis will then be virtually equivalent to Bentley's strictus. Perhaps my translation is not explicit enough. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Read for LibriVox.org by C.J. Bars. Let others Rhodes or Mytileans sing, or Phasis or Corinth set between, two seas, or Thebes or Delphi for its king, each famous for Thessalian temp green. There are who make chaste Pallas' virgin tower the daily burden of unending song, and search for wreaths the olive's rifled bower. The praise of Juno sounds from many a tongue, telling of Argos steeds, Maecenas' gold. For me stern Sparta forges no such spell, no, nor Larissa's plain of richest mould, as bright Albunia echoing from her cell. O headlong Anio, O Tiburnian groves, and orchards saturate with shifting streams, look how the clear fresh south from heaven removes the tempest, nor with rain perpetual teems. You too be wise, my Plancus, life's worst cloud will melt in air, by mellow wine allayed. Dwell you in camps with glittering banners proud, or 'neath your Tiber's canopy of shade, when Teucer fled before his father's frown. From Salamis they say his temples deep, he dipped in wine, then wreathed with poplar crown, and bade his comrades lay their grief to sleep. Where fortune bears us, then, my sire more kind, there let us go, my own, my gallant crew. 'Tis Teucer leads, 'tis Teucer breathes the wind. No more despair, Apollo's word is true. Another Salamis, in kindler air, shall yet arise, hearts that have borne with me. Worse buffets, drown today in wine your care. Tomorrow we recross the wide, wide sea. Notes: and search for wreaths the olive's rifled bower. Undique disreptum I take with Bentley to mean plucked on all hands, i.e. exhausted as a topic of poetical treatment. He well compares Lucretus, Book 1, verse 927. Juvatque novas decerper flores, insigmique me capiti petre inde coronam, und prius nulli velerent tempora Musae. 'Tis Teucer leads, 'tis Teucer breathes the wind. If I have slurred over the Latin, my excuse must be that the precise meaning of the Latin is difficult to catch. Is Teucer called auspix, as taking the auspices like an augur, or as giving the auspices like a god? There are objections to both interpretations. A Roman imperator was not called auspix, though he was attended by an auspix, and was said to have the auspicia. Auspix is frequently used of one who, as we should say, inaugurates an undertaking, but only if he is a god or a deified mortal. Perhaps Horace himself oscillated between the two meanings. His later commentators do not appear to have distinguished them. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
By Chiron Anthony. Lydia Dicper Omnis. Lydia, by all above, why bear so hard on Scriberis, to ruin him with love? What change has made him shun the playing ground, who once so well could bear the dust and sun? Why does he never sit on horseback in his company, nor with uneven bit his Gallic courser tame? Why dreads he yellow Tiber, as 'twould sully that fair frame? Like poison loads the oil, his arms no longer black and blue with honourable toil. He who erewhile was known for quoit or javelin oft and oft beyond the limit thrown, why skulks he, as they say, did Thetis' son before the dawn of Ilion's fatal day, for fear the manly dress should fling him into danger's arms amid the Lycian press. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
John Cunnington, read for LibriVox.org by C.J. Bars. See how it stands, one pile of snow, Surate, 'neath the pressure yield, its groaning woods the torrents flow, with clear sharp ice is all congealed. Heap high the logs, and melt the cold. Good Thaliarch, draw the wine we ask, that mellower vintage, 4-year-old, from our cellared Sabine cask, the future trust with Jove, when he has stilled the warring tempest roar. On the vexed deep the cypress tree and aged ash are rocked no more. O ask not what the morn will bring, but count as gain each day that chance may give you, sport in life's young spring, nor scorn sweet love nor merry dance, while years are green, while sullen eld is distant, now the walk, the game, the whispered talk at sunset held, each in its hour prefer their claim, sweet to the laugh whose feigned alarm the hiding place of beauty tells, the token ravished from the arm, or finger that but ill rebels. Notes. Since this ode was printed off, I find that my last stanza bears a suspicious likeness to the version by C.Sc. I cannot say whether it is a case of mere coincidence or an unconscious recollection. It certainly is not one of deliberate appropriation. I have only had the opportunity of seeing this book at distant intervals, and now, on finally comparing his translations with my own, I find that while there are a few resemblances, there are several marked instances of dissimilarity, where though we have adopted the same metre, we do not approach each other in the least. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Vox.org by Peter Tucker. Grandson of Atlas, wise of tongue, O Mercury, whose wit could tame man's savage youth by power of song and plastic game. Thee sing I, herald of the sky, who gav'st the lyre its music sweet, hiding whate'er might please thine eye in frolic cheat. See, threatening thee, poor guileless child, Apollo claims, in angry tone, his cattle. All at once he smiled, his quiver gone. Strong in thy guidance, Hector's sire escaped the Atridae, passed between Thessalian tents and warders' fire, of all unseen. Thou layest unspotted souls to rest, thy golden rod pale spectres know, blessed power, by all thy brethren blessed, above, below. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. LibriVox.org by Peter Tucker. Ask not, 'tis forbidden knowledge, what our destined term of years, mine and yours, nor scan the tables of your Babylonish seers. Better far to bear the future, my Laoconoi, like the past, whether Jove has many winters yet to give, or this our last. This, that makes the Tyrrhene billows spend their strength against the shore. Strain your wine and prove your wisdom. Life is short, should hope be more? In the moment of our talking, envious time has ebbed away. Seize the present, trust tomorrow e'en as little as you may. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Read for LibriVox.org by Peter Tucker. What man, what hero, Clio sweet, on harp or flute wilt thou proclaim? What god shall Echo's voice repeat in mocking game, to Helicon's sequestered shade, or Pindus, or on Hemus chill? Where once the hurrying woods obeyed the minstrel's will, who by his mother's gift of song held the fleet stream, the rapid breeze, and led with blandishment along the listening trees. Whom praise we first? The Sire on high, who gods and men unerring guides, who rules the sea, the earth, the sky, their times and tides. No mightier birth may he beget, no like, no second has he known, yet nearest to her sires is set Minerva's throne. Nor yet shall Bacchus pass unsaid, bold warrior, nor the virgin foe of savage beasts, nor Phoebus, dread with deadly bow. Alcides too shall be my theme, and leaders twins, for horses be, he famed for boxing. Soon as gleam their stars at sea, the lashed spray trickles from the steep, the wind sinks down, the storm cloud flies, the threatening billow on the deep obedient lies. Shall now Quirinus take his turn, or quiet Numa, or the state proud Tarquin held, or Cato stern by death made great? Ay, Regulus and the Scaurian name, and Paulus, who at Cannae gave his glorious soul fair record claim, for all were brave. Thee, Furius and Fabricius, thee, rough Curius too, with untrimmed beard, your sires transmitted poverty to conquest reared. Marcellus's fame, its upgrowth hid, springs like a tree. Great Julius's light shines like the radiant moon amid the lamps of night. Dread sire and guardian of man's race, to thee, O Jove, the fates assign our Caesar's charge. His power and place be next to thine. Whether the Parthian, threatening Rome, his eagles scatter to the wind, or follow to their eastern home Cathay and Ind. Thy second let him rule below. Thy car shall shake the realms above. Thy vengeful bolts shall overthrow each guilty grove. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. By Peter Tucker. Telephus! You praise him still, his waxen arms, his rosy-tinted neck. Ah, and all the while I thrill with jealous pangs I cannot check. See, my colour comes and goes, my poor heart flutters, Lydia, and the dew down my cheek soft stealing shows what lingering torments rack me through and through. Oh, 'tis agony to see those snow-white shoulders scarred in drunken fray, or those ruby lips where he has left strange marks that show how rough his play. Never, never look to find a faithful heart in him whose rage can harm sweetest lips which Venus kind has tinctured with her quintessential charm. Happy, happy, happy they whose living love, untroubled by all strife, binds them till the last sad day, nor parts asunder but with parting life. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Read for LibriVox.org by Peter Tucker. O luckless bark! New waves will force you back to sea. O haste to make the haven yours. E'en now a helpless wrack you drift, despoiled of oars. The Afric gale has dealt your mast a wound. Your sail-yards groan, nor can your keel sustain, till lashed with cables round, a more imperious main. Your canvas hangs in ribbons, rent and torn. No gods are left to pray to in fresh need. A pine of Pontus born, of noble forest breed, you boast your name and lineage. Madly blind! Can painted timbers quell a seaman's fear? Beware, or else the wind makes you its mock and jeer. Your trouble late made sick this heart of mine, and still I love you, still am ill at ease. O shun the sea where shine the thick-sown Cyclades. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Translated by John Cunnington. Read for LibriVox.org by C.J. Bars. When the false swain was hurrying o'er the deep, his Spartan hostess in the Idaean bark, old Nereus laid the unwilling winds asleep, that all to fate might hark, speaking through him, Home in ill hour you take a prize whom Greece shall claim with troops untold, leagued by an oath your marriage tie to break. And Priam's kingdom old, alas, what deaths you launch on Dardan realm, what toils are waiting man and horse to tire. See, Pallas trims her Aegis and her helm, her chariot and her ire. Vainly shall you, in Venus' favour strong, your tresses comb, and for your dames divide on peaceful lyre the several parts of song. Vainly in chamber hide from spears and Gnossian arrows barbed with fate, and battle's din, and Ajax in the chase. Unconquered, those adulterous locks, though late, shall gory dust deface. Hark! 'Tis the death cry of your race. Look back! Ulysses comes, and Pylian Nestor grey. See! Salaminian, Teucer on your track, and Sthenelus in the fray. Versed, or with whip and rein, should need require, no laggard. Merion too your eyes shall know. From far, Tydides, fiercer than his sire, pursues you all aglow. Him as the stag forgets to graze for fright, seeing the wolf at distance in the glade, and flies, high panting, you shall fly, despite, boasts to your leman made. What though Achilles' wrathful fleet postpone the day of doom to Troy and Troy's proud dames? Her towers shall fall, the numbered winters flown, wrapped in Achaean flames. Notes, and for your dames divide on peaceful lyre the several parts of song. I have taken feminists with divides, but it is quite possible that Aureli may be right in constructing it with grata. The case is really one of those noticed in the preface, where an interpretation which would not commend itself to a commentator may be adopted by a poetical translator simply as a free rendering. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
By John Connington, read for LibriVox.org by Sharon Anthony. O Matre Pulchra. O lovelier than the lovely dame that bore you, sentence as you please those scurril verses, be it flame your vengeance craves, or Hadrian sees, not Cybele, nor he that haunts rich Pytho, worse the brain confounds not Bacchus, nor the Corybands clash their loud gongs with fiercer sounds than savage wrath, nor sword nor spear appalls it, no, nor ocean's frown, nor ravening fire, nor Jupiter in hideous ruin crashing down. Prometheus, forced, they say, to add to his prime clay some favourite part from every kind, took lion mad and lodged its gall in man's poor heart. 'Twas wrath that laid Thyestes low, 'tis wrath that oft destruction calls on cities, and invites the foe to drive his plough over ruined walls. Then calm your spirit. I can tell how once, when youth in all my veins was glowing, blind with rage I fell on friend and foe in ribald strains. Come, let me change my sour for sweet, and smile complacent as before. Hear me my palinode repeat, and give me back your heart once more. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Velox eminam. The pleasures of Lucretius tempt Faunus from his Grecian seat. He keeps my little goats in bliss, apart from wind and rain and heat. In safety, rambling over the sward, for arbors and for thyme they peer, the ladies of the unfragrant lord, nor vipers green with venom fear, nor savage wolves of Mars' own breed. My Tyndaris, while Ustica's dell is vocal with the sylvan reed, and music thrills the limestone fell. Heaven is my guardian, heaven approves a blameless life, by song made sweet. Come hither, and the fields and groves their horn shall empty at your feet. Here, sheltered by a friendly tree, in Teian measures you shall sing, bright Circe and Penelope, love smitten both by one sharp sting. Here shall you quaff beneath the shade sweet Lesbian draughts that injure none, nor fear lest Mars the realm invade of Semele's Thyonian son, lest Cyrus on a foe too weak lay the rude hand of wild excess, his passion on your chaplet wreak, or spoil your undeserving dress. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
February 11th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Nullam Vare. Waters, are your trees in planting? Put in none before the vine, in the rich domain of Tiber by the walls of Catullus. There's a power above that hampers all that sober brains design, and the troubles man is heir to thus are quelled, and only thus. Who can talk of want or warfare when the wine is in his head? Not of thee, good Father Bacchus, and of Venus fair and bright. But should any dream of license, there's a lesson may be read, how 'twas wine that drove the centaurs with the Lapithai to fight. And the Thracians too may warn us, truth and falsehood, good and ill, how they mix them, when the wine god's hand is heavy on them laid. Never, never, gracious Bacchus, may I move thee 'gainst thy will, or uncover what is hidden in the verdure of thy shade. Silence thou thy savage cymbals and the Berecyntine horn. In their train self-love still follows, dully, desperately blind, and vainglory, towering upwards in its empty-headed scorn, and the faith that keeps no secrets, with a window in its mind. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. .org by Ross Claytor, February 12th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Mater Saeva Cupidinum. Cupid's mother, cruel dame, and Simile's Theban boy, and license bold, bid me kindle into flame this heart by waning passion now left cold. Oh, the charms of Glycera, that hue more dazzling than the Parian stone! Oh, that sweet tormenting play, that too fair face that blinds when looked upon! Venus comes in all her might, quits Cyprus for my heart, nor lets me tell of the Parthian bold in flight, nor Scythian hordes, nor aught that breaks her spell. Heap the grassy altar up, bring vervain, boys, and sacred frankincense. Fill the sacrificial cup, a victim's blood will soothe her vehemence. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Later, February 15th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Vile Potabis. Not large my cups, nor rich my cheer, this Sabine wine which erst I sealed, That day the applauding theatre your welcome pealed, dear knight Maecenas, as 'twere fain that your paternal river's banks and Vatican in sportive strain should echo thanks. For you Calenian grapes are pressed, and Caecuban. These cups of mine Falernum's bounty ne'er has blessed, nor Formian vine. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
By Sonia. Dianam Tenere. Of Dian's praises, tender maidens tell, of Cynthus' unshorn god, young striplings sing, and bright Latona, well beloved of heaven's high king. Sing her that streams and sylvan foliage loves, whatever on Algidus' chill brow is seen, in Erymanthian groves, dark-leaved, or cragus green. Sing Tempe, too, glad youth, in strain as loud, and Phoebus' birthplace, and that shoulder fair, his golden quiver proud, and brother's lyre to bear. His arm shall banish hunger, plague, and war, to Persia and to Britain's coast, away from Rome and Caesar far, if you have zeal to pray. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Read for LibriVox.org by Ross Clayton. February 16th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Integer Vitae. No need of Moorish archer's craft to guard the pure and stainless liver. He wants not Fuscus' poisoned shaft to store his quiver. Whether he traverse Libyan shoals, or Caucasus forlorn and horrent, or lands where fair Hydaspes rolls his fabled torrent. A wolf, while roaming trouble-free in Sabine wood, as fancy led me, unarmed I sang my lalage, beheld and fled me. Dire monster, in her broad oak woods, fierce Daunia fosters none such other, nor Juba's land of lion broods the thirsty mother. Place me where on the ice-bound plain no tree is cheered by summer breezes, where Jove descends in sleety rain or sullen freezes. Place me where none can live for heat, 'neath Phoebus' very chariot plant me. That smile so sweet, that voice so sweet, shall still enchant me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Read for LibriVox.org by Alexandra Helms. You fly me, Chloe, as o'er trackless hills a young fawn runs her timorous dam to find, whom empty terror thrills of woods and whispering wind. Whether 'tis spring's first shiver faintly heard through the light leaves, or lizards in the brake the wrestling thorns have stirred, her heart, her knees, they quake. Yet I, who chase you, no grim lion am, no tiger fell to crush you in my gripe. Come, learn to leave your dam, for lovers' kisses ripe. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sonia. Quis desiderio. Why blush to let our tears unmeasured fall for one so dear? Begin the mournful stave, Melpomene, to whom the sire of all sweet voice with music gave. And sleeps he then the heavy sleep of death, Quintilius? Piety, twin sister dear of justice, naked truth, unsullied faith, when will ye find his peer? By many a good man wept. Quintilius dies, by none than you, my Virgil, trulier wept. Devout in vain you chide the faithless skies, asking your loan ill kept. No, though more suasive than the bard of Thrace, you swept the lyre that trees were fain to hear. Never should the blood revisit his pale face, whom once with wands severe Mercury has folded with the sons of night, untaught to prayer fate's prison to unseal. Ah, heavy grief, but patience makes more light what sorrow may not heal. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Read for LibriVox.org by Sharon Anthony. Musis amicus. The Muses love me. Fear and grief, the winds may blow them to the sea. Who quail before the wintry chief of Scythia's realm is naught to me. What cloud o'er Tiridates lowers, I care not, I. O nymph divine of virgin springs, with sunniest flowers, a chaplet for my Lamia twine. Pimply sweet, my praise were vain without thee. String this maiden lyre, attune for him the Lesbian strain, O goddess, with thy sister choir. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
John Cunnington. Read for LibriVox.org by C.J. Bars. What? Fight with cups that should give joy? 'Tis barbarous. Leave such savage ways to Thracians. Bacchus, shamefaced boy, is blushing at your bloody phrase. The Median sabre, lights and wine, was stranger contrast ever seen? Cease, cease this brawling, comrades mine, and still upon your elbows lean. Well, shall I take a toper's part of fierce Falernian? Let our guest, Magella's brother, say what dart. Give the death wound that makes him blessed. He hesitates. No other hire shall tempt my sober brains. Whate'er the goddess tames you, no base fire she kindles. 'Tis some gentle fair allures you still. Come, tell me truth, and trust my honor, that the name, that wild Charybdis yours? Poor youth! Oh, you deserved a better flame. What wizard, what Thessalian spell, what god can save you, hampered thus? To cope with this chimera fell would task another Pegasus. Note, our guest, Magilla's brother. There is no warrant in the original for representing this person as a guest of the company, but the ode is equally applicable to a tavern party, where all share alike, and an entertainment where there is distinction between hosts and guests. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. By John Cunnington. Read for LibriVox.org by C.J. Bars. The sea, the earth, the innumerable sand, Akritas thou couldst measure, now alas! A little dust on Mateen's shore has spanned. That soaring spirit, vain it was to pass the gates of heaven and send thy soul in quest o'er air's wide realms, for thou hadst yet to die. Aye, dead is Pelops' father, heaven's own guest, and old Tithonus, wrapped from earth to sky, and Minos, made the counsel friend of Jove, and Panthus, son, has yielded up his breath. Once more, though down he plucked the shield to prove his prowess under Troy, and bade grim death, o'er skin and nerves alone exert its power. Not he, you grant, in nature meanly read. Yes, all await the inevitable hour. The downward journey all one day must tread. Some bleed, to glut the war god's savage eyes. Fate meets the sailor from the hungry brine. Youth jostles age in funeral obsequies. Each brow in turn is touched by Proserpine. Me too, Orion's mate, the southern blast, whelmed in deep death beneath the Illyrian wave. But grudge not, sailor, of driven sand to cast a handful on my head that owns no grave. So, though the eastern tempests loudly threat Hesperia's main, may green Venusia's crown be stripped while you lie warm. May blessings yet stream from Tarentum's guard, great Neptune down, and gracious Jove into your open lap. What? Shrink you not from crime whose punishment falls on your innocent children? It may hap, imperious fate will make yourself repent. My prayers shall reach the avengers of all wrong. No expiations shall the curse unbind. Great though your haste, I would not task you long. Thrice sprinkle dust, then scud before the wind. Notes: I have translated this ode as it stands, without attempting to decide whether it is dialogue or monologue. Perhaps the opinion which supports it to be spoken by Horace in his own person, as if he had actually perished in the shipwreck alluded to in Book 3, Ode 4, verse 27. Me non extinxit sicula palinurus unda, deserves more attention than it has received. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Ici Beatis. Your heart on Arab wealth is set, good Iccius. You would try your steel on Saba's kings, unconquered yet, and make the Mede your fetters feel. Come, tell me what barbarian fair will serve you now, her bridegroom slain? What page from court with essenced hair will tender you the bowlued rein, well skilled to bend the Syrian bow his father carried? Who shall say that rivers may not uphill flow, and Tiber's self return one day, if you would change Penisius' works, that costly purchase, and the clan of Socrates, for shields and dirks, whom once we thought a saner man? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Read for LibriVox.org by Patty Marie. O Venus, come, Canadian Paphian Venus, come, thy well-beloved cypress spurn. Haste where for thee in Glycera's home sweet odors burn. Bring too thy Cupid, glowing warm, graces and nymphs unzoned and free, and youth that lacking thee lacks charm, and Mercury. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Quid dedicatum. What blessing shall the bard entreat the god he hallows, as he pours the wine cup? Not the mounds of wheat that load Sardinian threshing floors, not Indian gold or ivory, no, nor flocks that over Calabria stray, nor fields that Liris, still and slow, is eating, unperceived, away. Let those whose fate allows them train Calenum's vine, let trader bold from golden cups rich liquor drain, for wares of Syria bought and sold, Heaven's favourite, sooth, for thrice a year he comes and goes across the brine, undamaged. I in plenty here on endives, mallows, succory dine. O grant me, Phoebus, calm content, strength unimpaired, a mind entire, old age without dishonour spent, nor unbefriended by the lyre. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Later, February 17th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Posthumor. They call. If aught in shady dwell we twain have warbled, to remain long months or years, now breathe, my shell, a Roman strain. Thou, strung by Lesbos' minstrel hand, the bard who, mid the clash of steel, or haply mooring to the strand his battered keel, of Bacchus and the Muses sung, and Cupid, still at Venus' side, and Lycus, beautiful and young, dark-haired, dark-eyed. O sweetest lyre, to Phoebus dear, delight of Jove's high festival, blessed balm in trouble, hail and hear whene'er I call. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
By Sonia. Albi, ne doleas. What, Albius, why this passionate despair for cruel Glycera? Why melt your voice in dolorous strains, because the perjured fair has made a younger choice? See, narrow-browed Lycoris, how she glows for Cyrus. Cyrus turns away his head, to follow his frown. But sooner gentle Rose Apulian wolves shall wed, than Pholoe to so mean a conqueror strike. So Venus wills it. 'Neath her brazen yoke she loves to couple forms and minds unlike, all for a heartless joke. For me sweet love had forged a milder spell, but Myrtale still kept me her fond slave, more stormy she than the tempestuous swell that crests Calabria's wave. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
By Ross Clayton, February 18th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Parcus Deorum. My prayers were scant, my offerings few, while witless wisdom fooled my mind. But now I trim my sails anew, and trace the course I left behind. For lo, the Sire of heaven on high, by whose fierce bolts the clouds are riven, to-day through an unclouded sky his thundering steeds and car has driven. E'en now dull earth and wandering floods, and Atlas' limitary range, and Styx, Antinarus' dark abodes are reeling. He can lowliest change and loftiest, bring the mighty down and lift the weak. With whirring flight comes fortune, plucks the monarch's crown, and decks therewith some meaner wight. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Roskilde to February 18th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. O Diva Grata. Lady of Antium, grave and stern, O goddess, who canst lift the low to high estate, in sudden turn a triumph to a funeral show, thee the poor hind that tills the soil implores. Their queen they own in thee, who in Bithynian vessel toil amid the vexed Carpathian sea. Thee Dacians fierce and Scythian hordes, peoples and towns, and Rome their head, and mothers of barbarian lords, and tyrants in their purple, dread, lest, spurned by thee in scorn, should fall the state's tall prop, lest crowds on fire, to arms, the loiterers call, and thrones be tumbled in the mire. Necessity precedes thee still with hard fierce eyes and heavy tramp. Her hand the nails and wedges fill, the molten lead and stubborn clamp. Hope, precious truth in garb of white, attend thee still, nor quit thy side, when with changed robes thou takest thy flight in anger from the homes of pride. Then the false herd, the faithless fair, start backward. When the wine runs dry, the jocund guests, too light to bear an equal yoke, asunder fly. O shield our Caesar as he goes to furthest Britain, and his band, Rome's harvest, send on eastern foes their fear, and on the Red Sea strand. O wounds that scarce have ceased to run, O brother's blood, O iron time, what horror have we left undone? Has conscience shrunk from aught of crime? What shrine has rapine held in awe, what altar spared? O haste and beat the blunted steel we yet may draw on Arab and on Massagete. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. For LibriVox.org by Ross Claytor, February 23rd, to XVIII, Roebuck, South Carolina. Et Thure et Fidibus. Bid the lyre and cittern play, and kindle incense, shed the victim's gore. Heaven has watched o'er Numida, and brings him safe from far Hispania's shore. Now returning, he bestows on each dear comrade all the love he can, but to Lamia most he owes, by whose sweet side he grew from boy to man. Note we in our calendar this festal day with whitest mark from Crete. Let it flow the old wine jar, and ply to Salian time your restless feet. Damalis tosses off her wine, but Bassus sure must prove her match tonight. Give us roses all to twine, and parsley green, and lilies deathly white. Every melting eye will rest on Damalis' lovely face, but none may part Damalis from our new-found guest. She clings and clings like ivy round his heart. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
By Phil Shempf. Now drink we deep, now featly tread a measure, now before each shrine with Salian feast the table spread. The time invites us, comrades mine. 'Twas shame to broach before today the Sicuban, while Egypt's dame threatened our power in dust to lay and wrap the capital in flame. Girt with her foul emasculate throng, by fortune's sweet new wine befooled, in hope's ungoverned weakness strong, to hope for all, but soon she cooled to see one ship from burning scape. Great Caesar taught her dizzy brain, made mad by Mariotic grape, to feel the sobering truth of pain, and gave her chase from Italy, as after doves fierce falcons speed, as hunters 'neath Haemonia's sky chase the tired hare, so might he lead the fiend enchained. She sought to die more nobly, nor with woman's dread quailed at the steel, nor timorously in her fleet ships to covert fled. Amid her ruined halls she stood unblenched, and fearless to the end, grasped the fell snakes, that all her blood might with the cold black venom blend, death's purpose flushing in her face. Nor to our ships the glory gave, that she, no vulgar dame, should grace a triumph, crownless and a slave. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Persicus Odi. No Persian cumber, boy, for me. I hate your garlands linden plaited. Leave winter's rose where on the tree it hangs belated. Wreathe me plain myrtle. Never think plain myrtle either's wear unfitting. Yours as you wait, mine as I drink, in vine bower sitting. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Translated by John Connington. Read for LibriVox.org by Douglas Thornton. Motum ex Metello. The broils that from Metellus date, the secret springs, the dark intrigues, the freaks of fortune, and the great confederate in disastrous leagues, and arms with uncleansed slaughter red, a work of danger and distrust you treat, as one on fire should tread, scarce hid by treacherous ashen crust. Let tragedy's stern muse be mute awhile, and when your ordered page has told Rome's tale, that buskined foot again shall mount the Attic stage, Pollio, the pale defendant's shield, in deep debate the Senate's stay, the hero of Dalmatic field by triumph crowned with deathless bay. Even now with trumpet's threatening blare you thrill our ears, the clarion brays. The lightnings of the armor scare the steed and daunt the rider's gaze. Methinks I hear of leaders proud, with no uncomely dust disdained, and all the world by conquest bowed, and only Cato's soul unchained. Yes, Juno and the powers on high that left their Afric to its doom, have led the victor's progeny as victims to Jugurtha's tomb. What field, by Latian blood drops fed, proclaims not the unnatural deeds it buries, and the earthquake dread whose distant thunder shook the meads? What gulf, what river has not seen those sights of sorrow? Nay, what sea has Daunian carnage yet left green? What coast from Roman blood is free? But pause, gay muse, nor leave your play another Scian dirge to sing. With me to Venus's power away, and there attune a lighter string. Note to Book 2, Ode 1, line 21. Methinks I hear of leaders proud. Horace supposes himself to hear not the leaders themselves, but Pollio's recitation of their exploits. There is nothing weak in this, as Aureli thinks. Horace has not seen Pollio's work, but compliments him by saying that he can imagine what its finest passages will be like. Quote, I can fancy how you will glow in your description of the great generals, and of Cato. Quote, possibly, non indecoro pulveri sordidos may refer to the deaths of the Republican generals, whom old recollections would lead Horace to admire. We may then compare Ode 7 of this book, verse 11. Cum fracta virtus seminasis, turpe solum te tegerimento. where, as will be seen, I agree with Ritter against Aureli, and supposing death in battle rather than submission to be meant, though Horace, writing from a somewhat different point of view, has chosen there to speak of the vanquished as dying ingloriously. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Cunnington. Read for LibriVox.org by Douglas Thornton. The silver Salus shows not fair while buried in the greedy mine. You love it not till moderate wear have given it shine. Honour to Proculius, he to brethren played a father's part. Fame shall embalm through years to be that noble heart. Who curbs a greedy soul may boast more power than if his broad-based throne bridged Libya's sea, and either coast were all his own. Indulgence bids the dropsy grow. Who fain would quench the palate's flame must rescue from the watery foe the pale weak frame. Phraates, throned where Ceres sate, may count for blessed with vulgar herds, but not with virtue. Soon or late from lying words she weans men's lips. For him she keeps the crown, the purple and the bays, who dares to look on treasured heaps with unblenched gaze. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Created by John Cunnington. Read for LibriVox.org by Douglas Thornton. An equal mind, when storms overcloud, maintain, nor neath a brighter sky let pleasure make your heart too proud, O Delius, Delius sure to die, whether in gloom you spend each year, or through long holy days at ease in grassy nook your spirit cheer, with old Falernian vintages, where poplar pale and pine tree high their hospitable shadows spread entwined, and panting waters try to hurry down their zigzag bed. Bring wine and scents and roses bloom, too brief, alas, to that sweet place, while life and fortune and the loom of the three sisters yield you grace. Soon must you leave the woods you buy, your villa washed by Tiber's flow leave, and your treasures heaped so high, your reckless heir will level low. Whether from Argus's founder born, in wealth you lived beneath the sun, or nursed in beggary and scorn, you fall to death, who pities none. One way I'll travel, the dark urn shakes each man's lot, that soon or late will force him, hopeless of return, on board the exile ship of fate. Note to Book 2, Ode 3, line 9, where poplar pale and pine tree high. I have translated according to the common reading, quote, "Quae pinus et obliquo," quote, without stopping to inquire whether it is sufficiently supported by MSS. Those who with Aureli prefer, quote, "Quo pinus quid obliquo," quote, may substitute, "Know you why pine and poplar high their hospitable shadows spread entwined? Why panting waters try to hurry down their zigzag bed?" End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Conington. Read for LibriVox by Patty Marie. Ne sit ancillae. Why, Xanthias, blush to own you love your slave? Briseis, long ago a captive, could Achilles move with breast of snow. Tecmessa's charms enslaved her lord, stout Ajax, heir of Telamon. Atrides in his pride adored the maid he won, when Troy to Thessaly gave way, and Hector's all too quick decease made Pergamus an easier prey to wearied Greece. What if, as auburn Phyllis' mate, you graft yourself on regal stem? Oh yes, be sure her sires were great. She weeps for them. Believe me, from no rascal scum your charmer sprang. So true a flame, such hate of greed, could never come from vulgar dame. With honest fervour I commend those lips, those eyes. You need not fear a rival, hurrying on to end his 40th year. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
.org by Sonia. Septimi, Gades. Septimius, who with me would brave far Gades, and Cantabrian land, untamed by home and Moorish wave that whirls the sand. Fair Tiber, town of Argive kings, there would I end my days serene, at rest from seas and travellings, and service seen. Should angry fate those wishes foil, then let me seek Galesus, sweet to skin-clad sheep, and that rich soil, the Spartan's seat. Oh, what can match the green recess, whose honey not to Hybla yields, whose olives vie with those that bless Venafrum's fields? Long springs, mild winters glad that spot by Jove's good grace, and Aulon, dear, to fruitful Bacchus envies not Falernian cheer. That spot, those happy heights desire our sojourn. There, when life shall end, your tears shall do my yet warm pyre, your bard and friend. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
O saepe mecum. Oh, oft with me in troublous time involved when Brutus warred in Greece, who gives you back to your own clime and your own gods, a man of peace, Pompey, the earliest friend I knew, with whom I oft cut short the hours with wine, my hair bright bathed in dew of Syrian oils, and wreathed with flowers. With you I shared Philippi's rout, unseemly parted from my shield, when valour fell and warriors stout were tumbled on the inglorious field. But I was saved by Mercury, wrapped in thick mist, yet trembling sore, while you to that tempestuous sea were swept by battle's tide once more. Come, pay to Jove the feast you owe, lay down those limbs, with warfare spent, beneath my laurel, nor be slow to drain my cask, for you 'twas meant. Lethe's true draught is Messic wine. Fill high the goblet, pour out 3 rich streams of unguent. Who will twine the hasty wreath from myrtle tree or parsley? Whom will Venus seat chairman of cups? Are Bacchants sane? Then I'll be sober. Oh, 'tis sweet to fool when friends come home again. Translator's note. A man of peace. Quiritem is generally understood of a citizen with rights undiminished. I have interpreted it of a civilian opposed to a soldier, as in the well-known story in Suetonius, Caesar, chapter 70, where Julius Caesar takes the 10th legion at their word and intimates that they are disbanded by the simple substitution of quirites for milites in his speech to them. But it may very well include both. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Ulla si juris. Had chastisement for perjured truth, Barine, marked you with a curse? Did one wry nail or one black tooth but make you worse? I trust you. But when plighted lies have pledged you deepest, lovelier far you sparkle forth, of all young eyes the ruling star. 'Tis gain to mock your mother's bones, and night still signs, and all the sky, and gods that on their glorious thrones chill death defy. Ay, Venus smiles, the pure nymphs smile, and Cupid, tyrant lord of hearts, sharpening on bloody stone the while his fiery darts. New captives fill the nets you weave, new slaves are bred, and those before, though oft they threaten, never leave your godless door. The mother dreads you for her son, the thrifty sire, the new wed bride, lest, lured by you, her precious one should leave her side. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
.org by Ross Claytor, February 23rd, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Non semper imbres. The rain, it rains not every day on the soaked meads. The Caspian main not always feels the unequal sway of storms. Nor on Armenia's plain, dear Valgius, lies the cold, dull snow through all the year. Nor north winds, keen upon Garganian oak woods blow, and strip the ashes of their green. You still with tearful tones pursue your lost Mystes. Hesper sees your passion when he brings the dew, and when before the sun he flees. Yet not for loved Antilochus grey Nestor wasted all his years in grief, nor o'er young Troilus his parents' and his sisters' tears forever flowed. At length have done with these soft sorrows, rather tell of Caesar's trophies newly won, and hoar Niphates' icy fell, and Medus' flood, mid conquered tribes rolling a less presumptuous tide, and Scythians taught, as Rome prescribes, henceforth o'er narrower steps to ride. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. By Ross Claytor, February 23rd, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Rectius vives. Licinius, trust a seaman's lore, steer not too boldly to the deep, nor, fearing storms, by treacherous shore too closely creep. Who makes the golden mean his guide, shuns miser's cabin foul and dark, shuns gilded roofs where pomp and pride are envy's mark. With fiercer blasts the pine's dim height is rocked, proud towers with heavier fall crash to the ground, and thunders smite the mountains tall. In sadness, hope. In gladness, fear against coming change will fortify your breast. The storms that Jupiter sweeps o'er the sky he chases. Why should rain today bring rain tomorrow? Python's foe is pleased sometimes his lyre to play, nor bends his bow. Be brave in trouble, meet distress with dauntless front. But when the gale too prosperous blows, be wise no less, and shorten sail. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Later, February 23rd, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Quid bellicosus. Oh, ask not what those sons of war, Cantabrian, Scythian, each intend, disjoined from us by Hadria's bar, nor puzzle, Quintius, how to spend a life so simple. Youth removes, and beauty too, and hoar decay drives out the wanton tribe of loves and sleep that came or night or day. The sweet spring flowers not always keep their bloom, nor moonlight shines the same each evening. Why with thoughts too deep o'ertask a mind of mortal frame? Why not, just thrown at careless ease 'neath plane or pine, our locks of grey perfumed with Syrian essences and wreathed with roses, while we may lie drinking? Bacchus puts to shame the cares that waste us. Where's the slave to quench the fierce Falernian's flame with water from the passing wave? Who'll coax coy Lydia from her home? Go, bid her take her ivory lyre, the runaway, and haste to come, her wild hair bound with Spartan tire. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. By Ross Clayton, February 24th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Nollis longa ferae. The weary war where fierce Numantia bled, fell Hannibal, the swoln Sicilian mane purpled with Punic blood. Not mine to wed these to the lyre's soft strain, nor cruel Lapithae, nor mad with wine Centaurs, nor by Herculean arm o'ercome the earth-born youth, whose terrors dimmed the shine of the resplendent dome of ancient Saturn. You, Maecenas, best in pictured prose, of Caesar's warrior feats will tell, and captive kings with haughty crest led through the Roman streets. On me the Muse has laid her charge to tell of your Licymnia's voice, the lustrous hue of her bright eye, her heart that beats so well to mutual passion true. How naught she does but lends her added grace, whether she dance, or join in bantering play, or with soft arms the maiden choir embrace on great Diana's day. Say, would you change for all the wealth possessed by rich Achaemenes, or Phrygia's heir, or the full stores of Araby the blest, one lock of her dear hair, while to your burning lips she bends her neck, or with kind cruelty denies the due she means you not to beg for but to take, or snatches it from you? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Patrick's Day, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Ille et nefasto. Black day he chose for planting thee, accursed he reared thee from the ground, the bane of children yet to be, the scandal of the village round. His father's throat the monster pressed beside, and on his hearthstone spilt, I ween, the blood of midnight guest. Black Colchian drugs, whate'er of guilt is hatched on earth, he dealt in all, who planted in my rural stead thee, fatal wood, thee, sure to fall upon thy blameless master's head. The dangers of the hour, no thought we give them. Punic seaman's fear is all of Bosporus, nor aught recks he of pitfalls otherwhere. The soldier fears the masked retreat of Parthia, Parthia dreads the thrall of Rome. But death with noiseless feet has stolen and will steal on all. How near dark Pluto's court I stood, and Aeacus' judicial throne, the blest seclusion of the good, and Sappho, with sweet lyric moan bewailing her ungentle sex, and thee, Alcaeus, louder far, chanting thy tale of woeful wrecks, of woeful exile, woeful war. In sacred awe the silent dead attend on each, but when the song of combat tells, and tyrants fled, keen ears, pressed shoulders, closer throng. What marvel, when at those sweet airs the 100-headed beast spellbound each black ear droops, and Fury's hairs uncoil their serpents at the sound? Prometheus too, and Pelops' sire, in listening, lose the sense of woe. Orion hearkens to the lyre, and lets the lynx and lion go. Translator's note. In sacred awe the silent dead attend on each. Sacro digna silentio, digna eo silentio quod in sacris faciendis observatur. Ritter. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Translated by John Conington. Read for LibriVox.org by Patty Marie. Ehu fugaces. Ah, Posthumus, they fleet away, our years, nor piety 1 hour can win from wrinkles and decay, and death's indomitable power. Not though 300 bullocks flame each year to soothe the tearless king, who holds huge Geryon's triple frame, and Tityus in his watery ring, that circling flood which all must stem, who eat the fruits that nature yields, wearers of the haughtiest diadem, or humblest tillers of the fields. In vain we shun war's contact red, or storm-tossed spray of Hadrian main. In vain the season through we dread for our frail lives Scirocco's bane. Cocytus black and stagnant dews must welcome you, and Danaus' seed ill-famed, and ancient Sisyphus to never-ending toil decreed. Your land, your house, your lovely bride must lose you. Of your cherished trees, none to its fleeting master's side will cleave, but those sad cypresses. Your heir, a larger soul, will drain the 100 padlocked Caecuban, and richer spilth the pavement stain, than e'er at pontiff's supper ran. Note, not though 300 bullocks flame each year, I have at last followed Ritter in taking Trekenos as loosely put for 365, a steer for each day of the year. The hyperbole, as he says, would otherwise be too extravagant. And richer spilth the pavement stain. Our vaults have wept with drunken spilth of wine. Shakespeare, Timon of Athens. End of poem. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain.
For LibriVox.org by Ross Clayton, February 24th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Iam pauca aratro. Few roods of ground the piles we raise will leave to plough, Ponds wider spread than Lucrine lake will meet the gaze on every side. The plain, unwed, will top the elm, the violet bed, the myrtle, each delicious sweet, on olive grounds their scent will shed, where once were fruit trees yielding meat. Thick bays will screen the midday range of fiercest suns. Not such the rule of Romulus, Cato sage, and all the bearded good old school. Each Roman's wealth was little worth, his country's much. No colonnade for private pleasance wooed the north with cool prolixity of shade. None might the casual sod disdain to roof his home. A town alone at public charge, a sacred fane, were honoured with the pomp of stone. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. February 26th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Otium Divos. For ease in wide Aegean caught the sailor prays, when clouds are hiding the moon, nor shines of starlight aught for seaman's guiding. For ease the mead with quiver gay. For ease rude Thrace in battle cruel. Can purple buy it, Grosphus? Nay, nor gold nor jewel. No pomp, no lictor clears the way mid rabble routs of troublous feelings, nor quells the cares that sport and play round gilded ceilings. More happy he whose modest board his father's well-worn silver brightens. No fear nor lust for sordid hoard his light sleep frightens. Why bend our bows of little span? Why change our homes for regions under another sun? What exiled man from self can sunder? Care climbs the bark and trims the sail, cursed fiend, nor troops of horse can scape her, more swift than stag, more swift than gale that drives the vapour. Blessed in the present, look not forth on ills beyond, but soothe each bitter with slow, calm smile. No suns on earth unclouded glitter. Achilles' light was quenched at noon. A long decay Tithonus minished. My hours, it may be, yet will run when yours are finished. For you, Sicilian heifers low, bleat countless flocks. For you are neighing proud coursers. Afric purples glow for your arraying with double dyes. A small domain, the soul that breathed in Grecian harping, my portion these, and high disdain of ribald carping. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Why rend my heart with that sad sigh? It cannot please the gods or me, that you, Maecenas, first should die, my pillar of prosperity. Ah, should I lose one half my soul untimely, can the other stay behind it? Life that is not whole, is that as sweet? The self-same day shall crush us twain. No idle oath has Horace sworn. Whene'er you go, we both will travel both, the last dark journey down below. No, not Chimera's fiery breath, nor Gaia's, could he rise again, shall part us. Justice, strong as death, so wills it, so the fates ordain. Whether 'twas Libra saw me born, or angry Scorpio, lord malign of natal hour, or Capricorn, the tyrant of the western brine, our planets sure with concord strange are blended. You, by Jove's blessed power, were snatched from out the baleful range of Saturn, and the evil hour was stayed, when rapturous benches full 3 times the auspicious thunder pealed. Me the cursed trunk that smote my skull had slain. But Faunus, strong to shield the friends of Mercury, checked the blow in mid-descent. Be sure to pay the victims and the fane you owe. Your bard a humbler lamb will slay. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Clayton, St. Patrick's Day, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Non ebur. Carven ivory have I none, no golden cornice in my dwelling shines. Pillars choice of Libyan stone upbear no architrave from Attic mines. 'Twas not mine to enter into Attalus' broad realms, an unknown heir, nor for me fair clients spin Laconian purples for their patrons' wear. Truth is mine, and genius mine. The rich man comes and knocks at my low door. Favoured thus I ne'er repine, nor weary out indulgent heaven for more. In my Sabine homestead blest, why should I further tax a generous friend? Suns are hurrying suns a-west, and new-born moons make speed to meet their end. You have hands to square and hew vast marble blocks, hard on your day of doom, ever building mansions new, nor thinking of the mansion of the tomb. Now you press on ocean's bound, where waves on Baiae beat, as earth were scant, now absorb your neighbour's ground, and tear his landmarks up, your own to plant. Hedges set round clients' farms, your avarice tramples. See, the outcasts fly, wife and husband, in their arms their fathers' gods, their squalid family. Yet no hall that wealth e'er planned waits you more surely than the wider room traced by death's yet greedier hand. Why strain so far? You cannot leap the tomb. Earth removes the impartial sod, alike for beggar and for monarch's child. Nor the slave of hell's dark god conveyed Prometheus back with bribe beguiled. Pelops he, and Pelops' sire, holds, spite of pride, in close captivity. Beggars who of labour tire, called or uncalled, he hears and sets them free. Translator's note. Suns are hurrying suns a-west, and newborn moons make speed to meet their end. The thought seems to be that the rapid course of time, hurrying men to the grave, proves the wisdom of contentment and the folly of avarice. My version formerly did not express this, and I have altered it accordingly, while I have rendered Novaeque pergunt interiore lunae closely, as Horace may perhaps have intended to speak of the moons as hastening to their graves as men do. Yet no hall that wealth e'er planned waits you more surely than the wider room traced by death's yet greedier hand. Fine is the instrumental ablative constructed with destinata, which is itself an ablative agreeing with aula, understood. The rich man looks into the future and makes contracts which he may never live to see executed. Verse 17, Tu secanda marmora locas sub ipsum funus. Meantime death, more punctual than any contractor, more greedy than any encroaching proprietor, has planned with his measuring line a mansion of a different kind, which will infallibly be ready when the day arrives. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Thursday, February 26, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Bacchum in Remotis. Bacchus I saw in mountain glades, retired, believe it, after years, teaching his strains to dryad maids, while goat-hoofed satyrs pricked their ears. Evoe! My eyes with terror glare, my heart is revelling with the god. 'Tis madness! Evoe! Spare, oh spare, dread wielder of the ivied rod! Yes, I may sing the Thyad crew, the stream of wine, the sparkling rills that run with milk, and honeydew that from the hollow trunk distills. And I may sing thy consort's crown, new set in heaven, and Pentheus' hall with ruthless ruin thundering down, and proud Lycurgus' funeral. Thou turn'st the rivers, thou the sea, thou on far summits moist with wine, thy bacchant tresses harmlessly dost not with living serpent twine. Thou, when the giants threatening wrack were clambering up Jove's citadel, didst hurl o'erweening Rhoetus back, in tooth and claw a lion fell. Who knew thy feats in dance and play, deemed thee belike for war's rough game unmeet. But peace and battle fray found thee, their centre, still the same. Grim Cerberus wagged his tail to see thy golden horn, nor dreamed of wrong, but gently fawning followed thee, and licked thy feet with triple tongue. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Translated by John Conington. Read for LibriVox.org by Patty Marie. Non usitata. No vulgar wing, nor weakly plied, shall bear me through the liquid sky. A two-formed bard, no more to bide within the range of envy's eye, mid haunts of men. I, all ungraced by gentle blood, I, whom you call your friend, Maecenas, shall not taste of death, nor chafe in Lethe's thrall. E'en now a rougher skin expands along my legs. Above I change to a white bird, and o'er my hands and shoulders grows a plumage strange. Fleeter than Icarus, see me float o'er Bosporus, singing as I go, and o'er Gastulian sands remote, and Hyperborean fields of snow. By Dacian horde that masks its fear of Marsic steel shall I be known, and furthest Scythian. Spain shall know my warbling, and the banks of Rhone. No dirges for my fancied death, no weak lament, no mournful stave. All clamorous grief were waste of breath, and vain the tribute of a grave. Note, I whom you call your friend, Maecenas, with Ritter I have rendered according to the interpretation which makes Delecte Maecenas addressed to Horace, but it is a choice of evils. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Equinox 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Odi Profanum. I bid the unhallowed crowd avaunt, keep holy silence. Strains unknown till now, the Muses' hierophant, I sing to youths and maids alone. Kings o'er their flocks the sceptre wield, e'en kings beneath Jove's sceptre bow. Victor in giant battlefield, he moves all nature with his brow. This man his planted walks extends beyond his peers. An older name one to the people's choice commends, one boasts a more unsullied fame, one plumes him on a larger crowd of clients. What are great or small? Death takes the mean man with the proud, the fatal urn has room for all. When guilty pomp the drawn sword sees hung o'er her, richest feasts in vain strain their sweet juice her taste to please. No lutes, no singing birds, again will bring her sleep. Sleep knows no pride, it scorns not cots of village hinds, nor shadow trembling riverside, nor Tempe stirred by western winds. Who having competence has all, the tumult of the sea defies, nor fears Arcturus' angry fall, nor fears the kid star's sullen rise. Though hailstorms on the vineyard beat, though crops deceive, though trees complain, one while of showers, one while of heat, one while of winter's barbarous reign. Fish feel the narrowing of the main from sunken piles, while on the strand contractors with their busy train let down huge stones, and lords of land affect the sea. But fierce alarm can clamber to the master's side, black cares can up the galley swarm, and close behind the horseman ride. If Phrygian marbles soothe not pain, nor star-bright purples costliest wear, nor vines of true Falernian strain, nor Achaemenian spices rare, why with rich gate and pillared range upbuild new mansions twice as high? Or why my Sabine vale exchange for more laborious luxury? Translator's note. And lords of land affect the sea. Terrae, of course, goes with fastidiosus, not with dominus. Mine is a loose rendering, not a false interpretation. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Palm Sunday, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Angustam amice. To suffer hardness with good cheer, in sternest school of warfare bred, our youth should learn. Let steed and spear make him one day the Parthian's dread. Cold skies, keen perils brace his life. Methinks I see from rampired town some battling tyrant's matron wife, some maiden look in terror down. Ah, my dear lord, untrained in war, oh, tempt not the infuriate mood of that fell lion. See, from far he plunges through a tide of blood. What joy for fatherland to die! Death's darts e'en flying feet o'ertake, nor spare a recreant chivalry, a back that cowers, or loins that quake. True virtue never knows defeat, her robes she keeps unsullied still, nor takes, nor quits her curule seat to please a people's veering will. True virtue opens heaven to worth, she makes the way she does not find. The vulgar crowd, the humid earth her soaring pinion leaves behind. Sealed lips have blessings sure to come. Who drags Eleusis' right to day, that man shall never share my home or join my voyage. Roofs give way, and boats are wrecked. True men and thieves neglected justice oft confounds. Though vengeance halt, she seldom leaves the wretch whose flying steps she hounds. Translator's note. Her robes she keeps unsullied still. The meaning is not that worth is not disgraced by defeat in contest for worldly honours, but that the honours which belong to worth are such as the worthy never fail to attain, such as bring no disgrace along with them, and such as the popular breath can neither confer nor resume. True men and thieves neglected justice oft confounds. Quote, the thieves have bound the true men, unquote. Shakespeare, Henry IV, Act II, Scene 2, where see Stevens' note. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. .org by Ross Clayton, March 21st, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Justum et tenacem. The man of firm and righteous will, no rabble clamorous for the wrong, no tyrant's brow whose frown may kill, can shake the strength that makes him strong. Not wind that chafes the sea they sway, nor Jove's right hand with lightning red. Should nature's pillared frame give way, that wreck would strike one fearless head. Pollux and roving Hercules thus won their way to heaven's proud steep, mid whom Augustus, couched at ease, dyes his red lips with nectar deep. For this, great Bacchus, tigers drew thy glorious car, untaught to slave in harness. Thus Quirinus flew on Mars' winged steed from Acheron's wave, when Juno spoke with heaven's assent. O Ilium, Ilium, wretched town, the judge accursed, incontinent, and stranger dame have dragged thee down. Pallas and I, since Priam's sire denied the gods his pledged reward, had doomed them all to sword and fire, the people and their perjured lord. No more the adulterous guest can charm the Spartan queen. The house forsworn no more repels by Hector's arm my warriors, baffled and outworn. Hushed is the war our strife made long. I welcome now, my hatred o'er, a grandson in the child of wrong, him whom the Trojan priestess bore. Receive him, Mars, the gates of flame may open, let him taste forgiven the nectar, and enroll his name among the peaceful ranks of heaven. Let the wide waters sever still Ilium and Rome. The exiled race may reign and prosper where they will. So, but in Paris' burial place the cattle sport, the wild beasts hide their cubs. The Capitol may stand all bright, and Rome in warlike pride o'er Media stretch a conqueror's hand. Ay, let her scatter far and wide her terror, where the land-locked waves Europe from Afric's shore divide, where swelling Nile the cornfield laves, of strength more potent to disdain hid gold, best buried in the mine, than gather it with hand profane, that for man's greed would rob a shrine. Whate'er the bound to earth ordained, there let her reach the arm of power, travelling where raves the fire unreined, and where the storm cloud and the shower. Yet, warlike Roman, know thy doom, nor, drunken with a conqueror's joy, or blind with duteous zeal, presume to build again ancestral Troy. Should Troy revive to hateful life, her star again should set in gore, while I, Jove's sister and his wife, to victory led my host once more. Though Phoebus thrice in brazen mail should case her towers, they thrice should fall, stormed by my Greeks, thrice wives should wail husband and son, themselves in thrall. Such thunders from the lyre of love! Back, wayward muse, refrain, refrain to tell the talk of gods above, and dwarf high themes in puny string. Translator's note. No more the adulterous guest can charm the Spartan queen. I have followed Rhetor in constructing Lacaenae adulterae as a dative with splendet, but I have done so as a poetical translator rather than as a commentator. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. By Ross Clayton, March 21st, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Descende Caelo. Come down, Calliope, from above, breathe on the pipe a strain of fire, or, if a graver note thou love, with Phoebus' cittern and his lyre. You hear her? Or is this the play of fond illusion? Hark! Meseems through gardens of the good I stray, mid murmuring gales and purling streams. Me, as I lay on Vultur's steep, a truant past Apulia's bound, or tired, poor child, with play and sleep, with living green the stock doves crowned. A legend, nay, a miracle, by Acherontia's nestlings told, by all in Bantine glade that dwell, or till the rich Forenton mould. Bears, vipers, spared him as he lay, the sacred garland decked his hair, the myrtle blended with the bay, the child's inspired, the gods were there. Your grace, sweet Muses, shields me still on Sabine heights, or lets me range where cool Praeneste, Tiber's hill, or liquid Baiae proffers change. Me to your springs, your dances true, Philippi bore not to the ground, nor the doomed tree in falling slew, nor billowy Palinurus drowned. Grant me your presence, blithe and fain, mad Bosporus shall my bark explore, my foot shall tread the sandy plain that glows beside Assyria's shore, mid Briton tribes the stranger's foe, and Spaniards drunk with horses' blood, and quivered Scythians will I go unharmed, and look on Tanais' flood. When Caesar's self in peaceful town the weary veteran's home has made, you bid him lay his helmet down, and rest in your Pierian shade. Mild thoughts you plant, and joy to see mild thoughts take root. The nations know how with descending thunder he the impious Titans hurled below, who rules dull earth and stormy seas, and towns of men, and realms of pain, and gods, and mortal companies, alone, impartial in his reign. Yet Jove had feared the giant rush, their upraised arms, their port of pride, and the twin brethren bent to push huge Pelion up Olympus' side. But Typhon, Mimas, what could these, or what Porphyrion's stalwart scorn, Rhetus, or he whose spears were trees, Enceladus, from earth uptorn, as on they rushed in mad career 'gainst Pallas' shield? Here met the foe fierce Vulcan, queenly Juno here, and he who ne'er shall quit his bow, who laves in clear Castalian flood his locks, and loves the leafy growth of Lycia next his native wood, the Delian and the Pataran both. Strength, mindless, falls by its own weight. Strength, mixed with mind, is made more strong by the just gods, who surely hate the strength whose thoughts are set on wrong. Let 100-handed Caius bear his witness, and Orion, known tempter of Dian, chaste and fair, by Dian's maiden dart o'erthrown. Hurled on the monstrous shapes she bred, earth groans, and mourns her children thrust to Orcus. Aetna's weight of lead keeps down the fire that breaks its crust. Still sits the bird on Tityos' breast, the warder of unlawful love. Still suffers lewd Pirithous, pressed by massive chains no hand may move. Translator's Note. Or if a graver note than love with Phoebus' cittern and his lyre, I have followed Horace's sense, not his words. I believe, with Ritter, that the alternative is between the pipe as accompanying the vox acuta and the cithara or lyre as accompanying the vox gravis. Horace has specified the vox acuta and left the vox gravis to be inferred. I have done just the reverse. Me as I lay on Voltur's steep. In this and the two following stanzas I have paraphrased Horace, with a view to bring out what appears to be his sense. There is, I think, a peculiar force in the word fabulosi, standing as it does at the very opening of the stanza, in close connection with me, and thus bearing the weight of all the intervening words to the very end, where its noun palumbes is introduced at last. Horace says, in effect, I, too, like other poets, have a legend of my infancy. Accordingly, I have thrown the gossip of the countryside into the form of an actual speech. Whether I am justified in heightening the marvellous by making the stock-doves actually crown the child, instead of merely laying branches upon him, I am not so sure. But something more seems to be meant than the covering of leaves, which the children in the wood, in our own legend, receive from the robin. Loves the leafy growth of Lycia next his native wood. Some of my predecessors seem hardly to distinguish between the Lyciae Dumeta and the Natalem Silvam of Delos, Apollo's attachments to both of which warrants the two titles Delius et Patareus. I knew no better way of marking the distinction within the compass of a line and a half than by making Apollo exhibit a preference where Horace speaks of his likings as coordinate. Strength mixed with mind is made more strong. Mixed is not meant as a precise translation of temperatam, chastened or restrained, though to mix happens to be one of the shades of meaning of temperare. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Plate, March 21st, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Caelo tonantem. Jove rules in heaven, his thunder shows. Henceforth Augustus earth shall own her present god, now Briton foes and Persians bow before his throne. Has Crassus' soldier ta'en to wife a base barbarian, and grown grey? Woe for a nation's tainted life! Earning his foemen kinsmen's pay, his king, forsooth, a Mede, his sire a Marsian? Can he name forget, gown, sacred shield, undying fire, and Jove and Rome are standing yet? 'Twas this that Regulus foresaw, what time he spurned the foul disgrace of peace, whose precedent would draw destruction on an unborn race, should aught but death the prisoner's chain unrivet. I have seen, he said, Rome's eagle in a Punic fane, and armour ne'er a blood drop shed, stripped from the soldier. I have seen free sons of Rome with arms fast tied. The fields we spoiled with corn are green, and Carthage opes her portals wide. The warrior, sure, redeemed by gold, will fight the bolder. Ah, you heap on baseness loss. The hues of old revisit not the wool we steep, and genuine worth expelled by fear returns not to the worthless slave. Break but her meshes, will the deer assail you? Then will he be brave who once to faithless foes has knelt. Yes, Carthage yet his spear will fly, who with bound arms the cord has felt, the coward, and has feared to die. He knows not, he, how life is won, thinks war, like peace, a thing of trade. Great art thou, Carthage, mate the sun, while Italy in dust is laid. His wife's pure kiss he waved aside, and prattling boys, as one disgraced, they tell us, and with manly pride stern on the ground his visage placed. With counsel thus ne'er else arread, he nerved the father's weak intent, and, girt by friends that mourned him, sped into illustrious banishment. Well witting what the torturer's art designed him, with like unconcern the press of kin he pushed apart, and crowds encumbering his return, as though, some tedious business o'er of client's court, his journey lay towards Venafrum's grassy floor, or Sparta-built Tarentum's bay. Translator's note. The fields we spoiled with corn are green. The later editors are right in not taking Marte Nostro with coli as well as with populata. As has been remarked to me, the pride of the Roman is far more forcibly expressed by the complaint that the enemy have been able to cultivate fields that Rome has ravaged, than by the statement that Roman captives have been employed to cultivate the fields they had ravaged as invaders. The latter proposition, it is true, includes the former, but the new matter draws off attention from the old, and so weakens it. Who once to faithless foes has knelt? Knelt is not strictly accurate, expressing Bentley's dededit rather than the common and doubtless correct text credidit. And girt by friends that mourned him sped. The press of kin he pushed apart. I had originally reversed amicos and propinquos, supposing it to be indifferent which of them was used in either stanza. But a friend has pointed out to me that a distinction is probably intended between the friends who attended Regulus and the kinsmen who sought to prevent his going. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. February 26th to K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Delicta Maiorum. Your father's guilt you still must pay, till, Roman, you restore each shrine, each temple mouldering in decay, and smoke-grimed statues scarce divine. Revering heaven, you rule below. Be that your base, your coping still. 'Tis heaven neglected bids o'erflow the measure of Italian ill. Now Pacorus and Monaeses twice have given our unblessed arms the foil. Their necklaces of mean device, smiling they deck with Roman spoil. Our city, torn by factions' throes, Dacian and Ethiop well nigh razed, these with their dreadful navy, those for archer prowess rather praised. An evil age erewhile debased the marriage bed, the race, the home. Thence rose the flood whose waters waste the nation and the name of Rome. Not such their birth who stained for us the sea with Punic carnage red, smote Pyrrhus, smote Antiochus, and Hannibal the Romans dread. Theirs was a hardy soldier brood, inured all day the land to till with Sabine spade, then shoulder wood hewn at a stern old mother's will, when sunset lengthened from each height the shadows, and unyoked the steer, restoring in its westward flight the hour to toil-worn travail dear. What has not cankering time made worse? Viler than grandsires, sires begat ourselves, yet baser, soon to curse the world with offspring baser yet. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. .org by Ross Clayton, February 27th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Quid fles Asteriae. Why weep for him whom sweet Favonian airs will waft next spring, Asteria, back to you, rich with Bithynia's wares, a lover fond and true, your Gyges? He, detained by stormy stress at Oricum, about the goat star's rise, cold, wakeful, comfortless, the long night weeping lies. Meantime his lovesick hostess messenger talks of the flames that waste poor Chloe's heart, flames lit for you, not her, with a besieger's art. Shows how a treacherous woman's lying breath once on a time on trustful Proetus won to doom to early death too chaste Bellerophon, warns him of Peleus' peril, all but slain for virtuous scorn of fair Hippolyta, and tells again each tale that e'er led heart astray. In vain, for deafer than Icarian seas he hears, untainted yet. But, lady fair, what if Enipeus please your listless eye? Beware, though true it be, that none with surer seat o'er Mars' grassy turf is seen to ride, nor any swims so fleet down the Tuscan tide, yet keep each evening door and window barred, look not abroad when music strikes up shrill, and though he call you hard, remain obdurate still. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. March 15th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Martis Coelebs. The 1st of March, a man unwed. What can these flowers, this censer mean, or what these embers, glowing red on sods of green? You ask, in either language skilled. A feast I vowed to Bacchus free, a white he-goat, when all but killed by falling tree. So, when that holy day comes round, it sees me still the rosin clear from this my wine jar, first embrowned in Tullus year. Come, crush 100 cups for life preserved, Maecenas. Keep till day the candles lit, let noise and strife be far away. Lay down that load of state concern, The Dacian hosts are all o'erthrown. The Mede that sought our overturn now seeks his own. A servant now, our ancient foe, the Spaniard, wears at last our chain. The Scythian half unbends his bow, and quits the plain. Then fret not, lest the state should ail. A private man such thoughts may spare. Enjoy the present hours, regale, and banish care. Translator's note. Lay down that load of state concern. I have translated generally, but Horace's meaning is special, referring to Maecenas' office of prefect of the city. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Vox.org. Lydia, read by Sonia.
Horace, read by Ross Clayton. Donec gratus eram. While I had power to bless you, nor any round that neck his arms did fling, more privileged to caress you, happier was Horace than the Persian king.
While you for none were pining, sorer, nor Lydia after Chloe came, Lydia, her peers outshining, might match her own with Ilia's Roman fame.
Now Chloe is my treasure, whose voice, whose touch can make sweet music flow. For her I'd die with pleasure, would fate but spare the dear survivor so.
I love my own fond lover, young Calais, son of Thurian Ornytus. For him I'd die twice over, would fate but spare the sweet survivor thus.
What now, if love, returning, should pair us 'neath his brazen yoke once more, and, bright-haired Chloe spurning, Horace to off-cast Lydia ope his door?
Though he is fairer, milder, than starlight, you lighter than bark of tree, than stormy Hadria wilder, with you to live, to die, were bliss for me.
Translator's note. Buttman complains of the editors for specifying the interlocutors as Horace and Lydia, which he thinks as incongruous as if in an English Amabian ode Collins were to appear side by side with Phyllis. The remark may be just as affects the Latin, though Ode 19 of the present book and Odes 33 and 36 of Book I might be adduced to show that Horace does not object to mixing Latin and Greek names in the same poem. But it does not apply to translation, where, to the English reader's apprehension, Horace and Lydia will seem equally real, equally fanciful. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Clayton, February 28th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Extremum Tanain. Ah, Lyce, though your drink were Tanais, your husband some rude savage, you would weep to leave me shivering on a night like this, where storms their watches keep. Hark, how your door is creaking, how the grove in your fair courtyard, while the wild winds blow, wails in accord. With what transparence Jove is glazing the driven snow. Cease that proud temper, Venus loves it not. The rope may break, the wheel may backward turn. Begetting you, no Tuscan sire begot Penelope the stern. Oh, though no gift, no prevalence of prayer, nor lover's paleness deep as violet, nor husband smit with the Pierian fair, move you, have pity yet. O harder e'en than toughest heart of oak, deafer than uncharmed snake to suppliant moans. This side, I warn you, will not always brook rain, water, and cold stones. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. By Ross Claytor, February 29, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Mercuri Te. Come, Mercury, by whose minstrel spell Amphion raised the Theban stones, come with thy 7 sweet strings, my shell, thy diverse tones, nor vocal once nor pleasant, now to rich man's board and temple dear. Put forth thy power, to Lydia bow her stubborn ear. She, like a 3-year colt unbroke, is frisking o'er the spacious plain, too shy to bear a lover's yoke, a husband's rein. The wood, the tiger, at thy call have followed, thou canst rivers stay. The monstrous guard of Pluto's hall to thee gave way, grim Cerberus, round whose Gorgon head 100 snakes are hissing death, whose triple jaws black venom shed in sickening breath. Ixion too, and Tityos smoothed their rugged brows. The urn stood dry 1 hour, while Danaus' maids were soothed with minstrelsy. Let Lydia hear those maidens' guilt, their famous doom, the ceaseless drain of outpoured water, ever spilt, and all the pain reserved for sinners e'en when dead. Those impious hands, could crime do more? Those impious hands had hearts to shed their bridegroom's gore. One only, true to Hymen's flame, was traitress to her sire forsworn. That splendid falsehood lights her name through times unborn. Wake to her youthful spouse, she cried. Wake, or you yet may sleep too well. Fly from the father of your bride, her sisters fell. They as she-lions bullocks rend, tear each her victim. I, less hard than these, will slay you not, poor friend, nor hold in ward. Me let my sire in fetters lay, for mercy to my husband shown. Me let him ship far hence away, to climes unknown. Go, speed your flight o'er land and wave, while night and Venus shield you. Go, be blessed, and on my tomb engrave this tale of woe. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Ross Claytor, February 29, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Miserarum est. How unhappy are the maidens who with Cupid may not play, who may never touch the wine cup, but must tremble all the day at an uncle and the scourging of his tongue. Neoble, there's a robber takes your needle and your thread, lets the lessons of Minerva run no longer in your head. It is Hebrus, the athletic and the young. Oh, to see him when anointed he is plunging in the flood! What a seat he has on horseback! Was Bellerophon's as good? As a boxer, as a runner, past compare. When the deer are flying blindly all the open country o'er, he can aim and he can hit them. He can steal upon the boar as it couches in the thicket unaware. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Translated by John Connington, read for LibriVox.org by Patty Marie. O fonts Bandusiae. Bandusia's font, in clearness crystalline, O worthy of the wine, the flowers we vow. Tomorrow shall be thine a kid, whose crescent brow is sprouting all for love and victory. In vain his warm red blood so early stirred, thy gelid stream shall die, child of the wanton herd. Thee the fierce Syrian star, to madness fired, forbears to touch. Sweet cool thy waters yield to ox with ploughing tired, and lazy sheep afield. Thou too one day shall win proud eminence mid honoured founts, while I the ilex sing, crowning the cavern whence thy babbling wavelets spring. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To February 29th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Hercules Horitu. Our Hercules, they told us Rome, had sought the laurel death bestows. Now glory brings him conqueror home from Spaniard foes. Proud of her spouse, the imperial fair must thank the gods that shield from death his sister too. Let matrons wear the suppliant wreath for daughters and for sons restored. Ye youths and damsels newly wed, let decent awe restrain each word best left unsaid. This day, true holy day to me, shall banish care. I will not fear rude broils or bloody death to see while Caesar's here. Quick, boy, the chaplets and the nard, and wine that knew the Marsian war, if roving Spartacus have spared a single jar. And bid Neaera come and trill her bright locks bound with careless art. If her rough porter cross your will, why then depart. Soon palls the taste for noise and fray, when hair is white and leaves are sere. How had I fired in life's warm May in Plancus year? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. By Ross Clayton, March 2nd, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Uxor pauperis Ibyci. Wife of Ibycus the poor, let aged sandals have at length their bound. Give your graceless doings o'er, ripe as you are for going underground. You, the maidens' dance to lead, and cast your gloom upon those beaming stars. Daughter Pholoi may succeed, but Mother Chloris, what she touches mars. Young men's homes your daughter storms, like Thyad, maddened by the cymbals' beat. Nothus' love her bosom warms, she gambols like a fawn with silver feet. Yours should be the wool that grows by fair Lucaria, not the merry lute. Flowers beseem not withered brows, nor withered lips with emptied wine jars suit. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Osculata, March 4th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Inclusum Danae. Full well had Danae been secured in truth by oaken portals, and a brazen tower, and savage watchdogs, from the roving youth that prowl at midnight's hour. But Jove and Venus mocked with gay disdain the jealous warder of that close stronghold. The way they knew must soon be smooth and plain when gods could change to gold. Gold, Gold can pass the tyrant's sentinel, can shiver rocks with more resistless blow than is the thunder's. Argos' prophet fell, he and his house laid low, and all for gain. The man of Macedon cleft gates of cities, rival kings o'erthrew by force of gifts. Their cunning snares have won rude captains and their crew. As riches grow, care follows. Men repine and thirst for more. No lofty crest I raise, wisdom that thought forbids, Maecenas mine, the knightly order's praise. He that denies himself shall gain the more from bounteous heaven. I strip me of my pride, desert the rich man's standard, and pass o'er to bare contentment's side. More proud as lord of what the great despise, than if the wheat threshed on Apulia's floor I hoarded all in my huge granaries, mid vast possessions poor. A clear fresh stream, a little field o'ergrown with shady trees, a crop that ne'er deceives. Pass, though men know it not, their wealth that own all Afric's golden sheaves. Though no Calabrian bees their honey yield for me, nor mellowing sleeps the god of wine in Formian jar, nor in Gaul's pasture field the wool grows long and fine, yet poverty ne'er comes to break my peace. If more I craved, you would not more refuse. Desiring less, I better shall increase my tiny revenues, than if to Aleates' wide domains I joined the realms of Mygdon. Great desires sort with great wants. 'Tis best when prayer obtains no more than life requires. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Clay to March 4th to K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Aeli Vetusto. Aelius, of Lammas' ancient name, for since from that high parentage the prehistoric Lammias came, and all who filled the storied page, no doubt you trace your line from him, who stretched his sway o'er Formiae, and Liris, whose still waters swim where green Marica skirts the sea, lord of broad realms. An eastern gale will blow tomorrow, and bestrew the shore with weeds, with leaves the vale, if rain's old prophet tell me true, the raven. Gather, while 'tis fine, your wood. Tomorrow shall be gay with smoking pig and streaming wine, and lord and slave keep holiday. Translator's note. Lamia was doubtless vain of his pedigree. Horace accordingly banters him good-humouredly by spending 2 stanzas out of 4 in giving him his proper ancestral designation. To shorten the address by leaving out a stanza, as some critics and some translators have done, is simply to rob Horace's trifle of its point. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. By Ross Clayton, March 4th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Faunae Nympharum. Oh, wont the flying nymphs to woo, good Faunus, through my sunny farm pass gently, gently pass, nor do my younglings harm. Each year, thou know'st, a kid must die for thee, nor lacks the wine's full stream to Venus mate the bowl, and high the altar's steam. Sure as December's nones appear, all o'er the grass the cattle play, the village with the lazy steer keeps holy day. Wolves rove among the fearless sheep. The woods for thee their foliage strow. The delver loves on earth to leap his ancient foe. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Clate, March 7th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Quantum distat. What the time from Inachos to Codrus, who in patriot battle fell, who were sprung from Aeacus, and how men fought at Ilion, this you tell. What the wines of Chios cost, who with due heat our water can allay, what the hour, and who the host to give us house room, this you will not say. Oh there! Wine to moonrise, wine to midnight, wine to our new augur too. 9 to 3 or 3 to 9, as each man pleases, makes proportion true. Who the uneven Muses loves will fire his dizzy brain with 3 times 3. 3 once told the Grace approves, she with her 2 bright sisters, gay and free, shrinks, as maiden should, from strife. But I'm for madness. What has dulled the fire of the Berecindian fife? Why hangs the flute in silence with the lyre? Out on niggard-handed boys! Rain showers of roses! Let old Lycus hear, envious churl, our senseless noise, and she, our neighbour, his ill-sorted fear. You with your bright clustering hair, your beauty, Telephus, like evening sky, Rhoda loves, as young as fair. I, for my Glycera, slowly, slowly die. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. March 8th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. O nata mecum. O born in Manlius year with me, whate'er you bring us, plaint or jest, or passion and wild revelry, or like a gentle wine jar, rest. Howe'er men call your Massic juice, its broaching claims a festal day. Come then, Corvinus bids produce a mellower wine, and I obey. Though steeped in all Socratic lore, he will not slight you, do not fear. They say old Cato, o'er and o'er, with wine his honest heart would cheer. Tough wits to your mild torture yield their treasures. You unlock the soul of wisdom, and its stores concealed, armed with Laia's kind control. 'Tis yours the drooping heart to heal. Your strength uplifts the poor man's horn. Inspired by you the soldier's steel, the monarch's crown he laughs to scorn. Liber and Venus wills she so, and sister Graces ne'er unknit, and living lamps shall see you flow till stars before the sunrise flit. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. March 8th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Motium Custos. Guardian of hill and woodland, maid, who to young wives in childbirth's hour thrice called vouchsafest sovereign aid, O three-formed power! This pine that shades my cot be thine. Here will I slay, as years come round, a youngling boar, whose tusks design the sidelong wound. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Ross Clate, March 8th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Coelos Pinas. If, fidele, your hands you lift to heaven, as each new moon is born, soothing your lares with the gift of slaughtered swine and spice and corn, ne'er shall Sirocco's bane assail your vines, nor mildew blast your wheat. Ne'er shall your tender younglings fail in autumn, when the fruits are sweet. The destined victim mid the snows of Algidus in oak woods fed, or where the Alban herbage grows, shall dye the pontiff's axes red. No need of butchered sheep for you to make your homely prayers prevail. Give but your little gods their due, the rosemary twined with myrtle frail. The sprinkled salt the votive meal as soon their favour will regain. Let but the hand be pure and leal, as all the pomp of heifers slain. Translator's note. There is something harsh in the expression of the fourth stanza of this ode in the Latin. Tentare cannot stand without an object, and to connect it, as the commentators do, with Deos is awkward. I was going to remark that possibly some future Bentley would conjecture certare or litare, when I found that certare had been anticipated by Perlkamp, who, if not a Bentley, was a Bentleyan. But it would not be easy to account for the corruption, as the fact that the previous line begins with cervice would rather have led to the change of tentare into certare than vice versa. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. By Ross Clay to March 10th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Intactis opulentior. Though your buried wealth surpass the unsunned gold of Ind or Araby, though with many a ponderous mass you crowd the Tuscan and Apulian sea, let necessity but drive her wedge of adamant into that proud head, vainly battling will you strive to escape death's noose, or rid your soul of dread. Better life the Scythians lead, trailing on wagon wheels their wandering home, or the hardy Getan breed, as o'er their vast unmeasured steppes they roam, free the crops that bless their soil, their tillage wearies after 1 year's space. Each in turn fulfils his toil, his period o'er, another takes his place. There the step-dame keeps her hand from guilty plots, from blood of orphans clean. There no dowried wives command their feeble lords, or on adulterers lean. Theirs are dowries not of gold, their parents' worth, their own pure chastity, true to one, to others cold. They dare not sin, or, if they dare, they die. Oh, whoe'er has heart and head to stay our plague of blood, our civic brawls, would he that his name be read Father of Rome on lofty pedestals, let him chain this lawless will, and be our children's hero. Cursed spite, living worth we envy still, then seek it with strained eyes when snatched from sight. What can sad laments avail, unless sharp justice kill the taint of sin? What can laws, that needs must fail, shorn of the aid of manners formed within, if the merchant turns not back from the fierce heat that round the tropic glow, turns not from the regions black with northern winds and hard with frozen snow? Sailors override the wave, while guilty poverty, more feared than vice, bids us crime and suffering brave, and shuns the ascent of virtue's precipice. Let the Capitolian fane, the favoured goal of yon vociferous crowd, Ay, or let the nearest main receive our gold, our jewels rich and proud. Slay we thus the cause of crime? If yet we would repent and choose the good, ours the task to take in time this baleful lust, and crush it in the bud. Ours to mould our weakling sons to nobler sentiment and manlier deed. Now the noble's firstborn shuns the perilous chase, nor learns to sit his steed. Set him to the unlawful dice, or Grecian hoop, how skilfully he plays! While his sire, mature in vice, a friend, a partner, or a guest, betrays, hurrying, for an heir so base, to gather riches. Money, root of ill, doubt it not, still grows apace. Yet the scant heap has somewhat lacking still. Translator's note. Let necessity but drive her wedge of adamant into that proud head. I have translated this difficult passage nearly as it stands, not professing to decide whether tops of buildings or human heads are meant. Either is strange till explained. Neither seems at present to be supported by any exact parallel in ancient literature or ancient art. Necessity, with her nails, has met us before in Ode 35 of Book I, and Orelli describes an Etruscan work of art where she is represented with that cognizance. But though the nail is an appropriate emblem of fixity, we are apparently not told where it is to be driven. The difficulty here is further complicated by the following metaphor of the noose, which seems to be a new and inconsistent image. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Clayton, March 10th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Quo me Bacchae. Whither, Bacchus, tear'st thou me, filled with thy strength? What dens, what forests these, thus in wildering race I see? What cave shall hearken to my melodies, tuned to tell of Caesar's praise, and thrown him high the heavenly ranks among? Sweet and strange shall be my lays, a tale till now by poet voice unsung. As the Evian on the height, roused from her sleep, looks wonderingly abroad, looks on Thrace with snowdrifts white, and Rhodope by barbarous footstep trod, so my truant eyes admire the banks, the desolate forests. O great King, who the Naiads dost inspire, and Bacchants, strong from earth huge trees to wring. Not a lowly strain is mine, no mere man's utterance. Oh, 'tis venture sweet thee to follow, God of wine, making the vine branch round thy temples meet. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. March 10th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Vixi Puellis. For ladies' love I late was fit, and good success my warfare blessed. But now my arms, my lyre I quit, and hang them up to rust or rest. Here, where arising from the sea stands Venus, lay the load at last, links, crowbars, and artillery, threatening all doors that dared be fast. O goddess, Cyprus owns thy sway, and Memphis far from Thracian snow. Raise high thy lash, and deal me, pray, that haughty Chloe just one blow. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Clayton, March 10th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Impios Parae. When guilt goes forth, let lapwings shrill, and dogs and foxes great with young, and wolves from far Lanuvian hill give clamorous tongue. Across the roadway dart the snake, frightening, like arrow loosed from string, the horses. I, for friendship's sake, watching each wing, ere to his haunt the stagnant marsh the harbinger of tempest flies, will call the raven, croaking harsh from eastern skies. Farewell, and wheresoe'er you go, my Galatea, think of me. Let left-hand pie and roving crow still leave you free. But mark with what a front of fear Orion lowers. Ah, well I know how Hadria glooms, how falsely clear the west winds blow. Let foemen's wives and children feel the gathering south wind's angry roar, the black waves crash, the thunder peal, the quivering shore. So to the bull Europa gave her beauteous form, and when she saw the monstrous deep, the yawning grave, grew pale with awe. That morn of meadow flowers she thought, weaving a crown the nymphs to please. That gloomy night she looked on naught but stars and seas. Then, as in 100-citied Crete she landed, "O my sire," she said, "old childly duty, passion's heat has struck thee dead. Whence came I? Death for maiden shame were little. Do I wake to weep my sin? Or am I pure of blame, and is it sleep from dreamland brings a form to trick my senses? Which was best, to go over the long, long waves, or pick the flowers in blow? Oh, were that monster made my prize, how would I strive to wound that brow, how tear those horns my frantic eyes adored but now! Shameless I left my father's home, shameless I cheat the expectant grave. O heaven, that naked I might roam in lion's cave! Now, ere decay my bloom devour, or thin the richness of my blood, fain would I fall in youth's first flower, the tiger's food. Hark, 'tis my father. Worthless one, what, yet alive? The oak is nigh. 'Twas well you kept your maiden zone, the noose to tie. Or if your choice be that rude pike, new barbed with death, leap down and ask the wind to bear you. Would you like the bondmaid's task, you, child of kings, a master's toy, a mistress' slave? Beside her low stood Venus smiling, and her boy with unstrung bow. Then, when her laughter ceased, "Have done with fume and fret," she cried, "my fair. That odious bull will give you soon his horns to tear. You know not you are Jove's own dame. Away with sobbing. Be resigned to greatness. You shall give your name to half mankind." End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. 10th to K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Festo quid potius. Neptune's feast day. What should man think first of doing? Lydia mine, be bold, broach the treasured Caecuban, and batter wisdom in her own stronghold. Now the noon has passed the full, yet sure you deem swift time has made a halt, tardy as you are to pull old bibulous wine jar from its sleepy vault. I will take my turn and sing Neptune in Nereus' strain with locks of green. You shall warble to the string Latona and her Cynthia's arrowy sheen. Hers our latest song, who sways Cnidos and Cyclades, and to Paphos goes with her swans on holidays. Night, too, shall claim the homage music owes. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. March 11th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Tyrrhena Regum. Heir of Tyrrhenian kings, for you a mellow cask, unbroached as yet, Maecenas mine, and roses new, and fresh-drawn oil your locks to wet, are waiting here. Delay not still, nor gaze on Tiber never dried, and sloping Isole, and the hill of Telegon the parricide. O leave that pomp that can but tire, those piles among the clouds at home. Cease for a moment to admire the smoke, the wealth, the noise of Rome. In change, e'en luxury finds a zest, the poor man's supper, neat but spare, with no gay couch to seat the guest, has smoothed the rugged brow of care. Now glows the Aethiop maiden's sire, now Procyon rages all ablaze, the lion maddens in his ire, as suns bring back the sultry days. The shepherd with his weary sheep seeks out the streamlet and the trees, Silvanus' lair. The still banks sleep untroubled by the wandering breeze. You ponder on imperial schemes, and o'er the city's danger brood. Bactrian and Syrian haunt your dreams, and Tanais tossed by inward feud. The issue of the time to be Heaven wisely hides in blackest night, and laughs, should man's anxiety transgress the bounds of man's short sight. Control the present, all beside flows like a river seaward borne, now rolling on its placid tide, now whirling massy trunks uptorn, and wave-worn crags, and farms, and stock, in chaos blent, where hill and wood reverberate to the enormous shock, when savage rains the tranquil flood have stirred to madness. Happy he, self-centered, who each night can say, "My life is lived." The morn may see a clouded or a sunny day, that rests with Jove. But what is gone he will not, cannot turn to naught, nor cancel as a thing undone what once the flying hour has brought. Fortune, who loves her cruel game, still bent upon some heartless whim, shifts her caresses, fickle dame, now kind to me, and now to him. She stays, 'tis well, but let her shake those wings, her presence I resign, cloak me in native worth, and take chaste poverty undowered for mine. Though storms around my vessel rave, I will not fall to craven prayers, nor bargain by my vows to save my Cyprian and Sidonian wares, else added to the insatiate main. Then through the wild Aegean roar the breezes, and the brethren twain shall waft my little boat ashore. Translator's note. Nor gaze on Tiber never dried. With Ritter I have connected semper udum, an interpretation first suggested by Tate, who turned ne into ut, but I do not press it as the best explanation of the Latin. The general effect of the stanza is the same either way. Those piles among the clouds at home? I have understood molem generally of the buildings of Rome, not especially of Maecenas' tower. The parallel passage in Virgil's Aeneid, 1:421. Miratur molem Aeneas Magalia quondam, miratur porta strepitumque et strata viarum, is in favor of the former view. What once the flying hour has brought, I have followed Ritter doubtfully. Compare Virgil's Georgics, 1:461. Quid vesper serus vehat. shall waft my little boat ashore. I have hardly brought out the sense of the Latin with sufficient clearness. Horace says that if adversity comes upon him, he shall accept it, and be thankful for what is left him, like a trader in a tempest, who, instead of wasting time in useless prayers for the safety of his goods, takes at once to the boat and preserves his life. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. XII, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Exegi monumentum. And now 'tis done. More durable than brass my monument shall be, and raise its head o'er royal pyramids. It shall not dread corroding rain, or angry Boreas, nor the long lapse of immemorial time. I shall not wholly die. Large residue shall scape the Queen of Funerals. Ever new my after fame shall grow, while pontiffs climb with silent maids the Capitolian height. Born, men will say, where Aufidus is loud, where Daunus, scant of streams, beneath him bowed the rustic tribes. From dimness he waxed bright, first of his race to wed the Aeolian lay to notes of Italy. Put glory on my own Melpomene, by genius won, and crown me of thy grace with Delphic bay. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Intermissa Venus. Yet again thou wakes the flame that long had slumbered. Spare me, Venus, spare. Trust me, I am not the same as in the reign of Cinara, kind and fair. Cease thy softening spells to prove on this old heart, by 50 years made hard, cruel mother of sweet love. Haste where gay youth solicits thy regard. With thy purpled signets fly to Paulus' door, a seasonable guest. There within hold revelry, there light thy flame in that congenial breast. He with birth and beauty graced, the trembling client's champion, never tongue-tied, master of each manly taste, shall bear thy conquering banners far and wide. Let him smile in triumph gay, true heart, victorious over lavish hand, by the Alban lake that day, 'neath citron roof all marble shalt thou stand. Incense there and fragrant spice, with odorous fumes thy nostril shall salute. Blended notes thine ear entice, the lyre, the pipe, the Berecyntine flute. Graceful youths and maidens bright shall twice a day thy tuneful praise resound, while their feet so fair and white in Salian measure 3 times beat the ground. I can relish love no more, nor flattering hopes that tell me hearts are true, nor the revel's loud uproar, nor fresh wreathed flowerets bathed in vernal dew. Ah, but why, my Ligurine, steal trickling teardrops down my wasted cheek? Wherefore halts this tongue of mine, so eloquent once, so faltering now and weak? Now I hold you in my chain, and clasp you close, all in a nightly dream. Now, still dreaming, over the plain I chase you, now, ah cruel, down the stream. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Purim 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Pindarum Quis. Who fain at Pindar's flight would aim, on waxen wings, Iulus, he soars heavenward, doomed to give his name to some new sea. Pindar, like torrent from the steep, which, swollen with rain, its banks o'erflows, with mouth unfathomably deep, foams, thunders, glows, all worthy of Apollo's bay, whether in dithyrambic roll, pouring new words he burst away beyond control, Or gods and god-born heroes tell, whose arm with righteous death could tame grim centaurs, tame chimeras fell, outbreathing flame. Or bid the boxer or the steed in deathless pride of victory live, and dower them with a nobler meed than sculptors give. Or mourn the bridegroom early torn from his young bride, and set on high strength, courage, virtue's golden morn, too good to die. Antonius, yes, the winds blow free when Dirce's swan ascends the skies to waft him. I, like matine bee in act and guise that culls its sweets through toilsome hours, am roaming Tiber's banks along, and fashioning with puny powers a laboured song. Your muse shall sing in loftier strain, how Caesar climbs the sacred height, the fierce Sygambrians in his train, with laurel dight. Than whom the fates ne'er gave mankind a richer treasure or more dear, nor shall, though earth again should find the golden year. Your muse shall tell of public sports, and holy day, and votive feast, for Caesar's sake, and brawling courts where strife has ceased. Then, if my voice can aught avail, grateful for him our prayers have won, my song shall echo, Hail, auspicious sun! There as you move, ho, triumph, ho, great triumph! Once and yet again all Rome shall cry, and spices strow before your train. 10 bulls, 10 kine, your debt discharge. A calf new weaned from parent cow, battening on pastures rich and large, shall quit my vow. Like moon, just dawning on the night, the crescent honours of his head, one dapple spot of snowy white, the rest all red. Translator's note. And spices strow before your train. I had written, and gifts bestow at every fane, but Ritter is doubtless right in explaining davimus tura, of the burning of incense in the streets during the procession. About the early part of the stanza I am less confident, but the explanation which makes Antonius take part in the procession as praetor, the reading adopted being tuque dum procedis, is perhaps the least of evils. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Cleta, Maundy, Thursday, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Quem tu Melpomene. He whom thou, Melpomene, hast welcomed with thy smile, in life arriving, ne'er by boxer's skill shall be renowned abroad, for Isthmian mastery striving. Him shall never fiery steed draw in Achaean car, a conqueror seated. Him shall never martial deed show, crowned with bay after proud kings defeated, climbing Capitolian steep. But cool streams that make green Tiber flourish, and the tangled forest deep, on soft Aeolian airs his fame shall nourish. Rome, of cities first and best, deigns by her son's according voice to hail me, fellow bard of poets blest, and faint and fainter envy's growls assail me. Goddess, whose Pierian art the lyre's sweet sounds can modulate and measure, who to dumb fish canst impart the music of the swan, if such thy pleasure. Oh, 'tis all of thy dear grace that every finger points me out, in going, lyrist of the Roman race. Breath, power to charm, if mine, are thy bestowing. Translator's note. On soft Aeolian airs his fame shall nourish. Horace evidently means that the scenery of Tiber contributes to the formation of lyric genius. It is Wordsworth's doctrine in the germ, though, if the author had been asked what it involved, perhaps he would not have gone further than Ritter, who resolves it all into the conduciveness of a pleasant retreat to successful composition. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Friday, 2K 16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Qualem ministrum. E'en as the lightning's minister, whom Jove o'er all the feathered breed made sovereign, having proved him sure erewhile on auburn Ganymede, stirred by warm youth and inborn power, he quits the nest with timorous wing, for winter's storms have ceased to lour, and zephyrs of returning spring tempt him to launch on unknown skies. Next on the fold he stoops downright, last on resisting serpents flies, athirst for foray and for flight. As tender kidling on the grass espies, uplooking from her food, a lion's whelp, and knows, alas, those new-set teeth shall drink her blood, so looked the Rhaetian mountaineers on Drusus, whence in every field they learned through immemorial years the Amazonian axe to wield, I ask not now. Not all of truth we seekers find. Enough to know the wisdom of the princely youth has taught our erst victorious foe what prowess dwells in boyish hearts reared in the shrine of a pure home, what strength Augustus' love imparts to Nero's seed, the hope of Rome. Good sons and brave good sires approve, strong bullocks, fiery colts, attest their father's worth. Nor weakling dove is hatched in savage eagle's nest. But care draws forth the power within, and cultured minds are strong for good. Let manners fail, the plague of sin taints e'en the course of gentle blood. How great thy debt to Nero's race, O Rome, let red Metaurus say, slain Hasdrubal, and victory's grace first granted on that glorious day which chased the clouds and showed the sun, when Hannibal o'er Italy ran, as swift flames o'er pine woods run, or Eurus o'er Sicilia's sea. Henceforth by fortune aiding toil Rome's prowess grew, her fanes, laid waste by Punic sacrilege and spoil, beheld at length their gods replaced. Then the false Libyan owned his doom. Weak deer, the wolf's predestined prey, blindly we rush on foes, from whom 'twere triumph won to steal away. That race which, strong from Ilion's fires, its gods on Tuscan waters tossed, its sons, its venerable sires, bore to Ausonia's citied coast, that race, like oak by axes shorn on Algidus with dark leaves rife, laughs carnage, havoc all to scorn, and draws new spirit from the knife. Not the lopped Hydra tasked so sore Alcides, chafing at the foil. No pest so fell was born of yore from Colchian or from Theban soil. Plunged in the deep, it mounts to sight more splendid. Grappled, it will quell unbroken powers, and fight a fight whose story widowed wives shall tell. No herald shall my deeds proclaim to Carthage now. Lost, lost is all. A nation's hope, a nation's name. They died with dying Hasdrubal. What will not Claudian hands achieve? Jove's favour is their guiding star, and watchful potencies unweave for them the tangled paths of war. Translator's note. I have deranged the symmetry of the two opening similes, making the eagle the subject of the sentence in the first, the kid in the second, an awkwardness which the Latin is able to avoid by its power of distinguishing cases by inflection. I trust, however, that it will not offend an English reader. Whence in every field they learned. Horace seems to allude jokingly to some unseasonable inquiry into the antiquity of the armour of these Alpine tribes, which had perhaps been started by some less skilful celebrator of the victory, at the same time that he gratifies his love of lyrical commonplace by a parenthetical digression in the style of Pindar. And watchful potencies unweave for them the tangled paths of war. On the whole, Ritter seems right, after Acron, in understanding curae sagaces of the counsels of Augustus, whom Horace compliments similarly in the 14th ode of this book, as the real author of his stepson's victories. He is certainly right in giving the stanza to Horace, not to Hannibal. Even a courtly or patriotic Roman would have shrunk from the bad taste of making the great historical enemy of Italy conclude his lamentation over his own and his country's deep sorrow by a flattering prophecy of the greatness of his antagonist's family. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Clayt, March 29th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Divis Orte Bonis. Best guardian of Rome's people, dearest boon of a kind heaven, thou lingerest all too long. Thou bad'st thy senate look to meet thee soon, do not thy promise wrong. Restore, dear chief, the light thou tak'st away. Ah, when like spring that gracious mien of thine dawns on thy Rome, more gently glides the day, and suns serener shine. See her whose darling child a long year past has dwelt beyond the wild Carpathian foam. That long year o'er, the envious southern blast still bars him from his home. Weeping and praying to the shore she clings, nor ever thence her straining eyesight turns. So, smit by loyal passion's restless stings, Rome for her Caesar yearns. In safety range the cattle o'er the mead, Sweet peace, soft plenty, swell the golden grain. O'er unvexed seas the sailors blithely speed, Fair honour shrinks from stain, no guilty lusts the shrine of home defile, Cleansed is the hand without, the heart within. The father's features in his children smile, Swift vengeance follows sin. Who fears the Parthian or the Scythian horde, or the rank growth the German forests yield, while Caesar lives? Who trembles at the sword the fierce Iberians wield? In his own hills each labours down the day, Teaching the vine to clasp the widowed tree. Then to his cups again, where feasting gay, He hails his God in thee. A household power adored with prayers and wine, Thou reign'st auspicious o'er his hour of ease. Thus grateful Greece her Castor made divine, And her great Hercules. Ah, be it thine long holidays to give to thy Hesperia. Thus, dear chief, we pray at sober sunrise, Thus at mellow eve when ocean hides the day. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. March 29th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Dive quem proles. Thou who didst make thy vengeful might to Niobe and Tityos known, and Peleus' son, when Troy's tall height was nigh his own, victorious else. For thee no peer, though strong in his sea-parent's power, he shook with that tremendous spear the Dardan tower. He, like a pine by axes sped, or cypress swayed by angry gust, fell ruining, and laid his head in Trojan dust. Not his to lie in covert pent of the false steed, and sudden fall on Priam's ill-starred merriment in bower and hall. His ruthless arm in broad bare day the infant from the breast had torn, nay, given to flame, ah, well away, the babe unborn. But won by Venus' voice and thine, relenting Jove, Aeneas willed with other omens more benign new walls to build. Sweet tuner of the Grecian lyre, whose locks are laved in Xanthus dews, blooming Aguieus, help, inspire my Daunian muse. 'Tis Phoebus, Phoebus gifts my tongue with minstrel art and minstrel fires. Come, noble youths and maidens, sprung from noble sires, blessed in your Dian's guardian smile, whose shafts the flying Sylvans stay. Come, foot the Lesbian measure, while the lyre I play. Sing of Latona's glorious boy. Sing of Night's queen with crescent horn, who wings the fleeting months with joy and swells the corn. And happy brides shall say, "'Twas mine, when years the cyclic season brought, to chant the festal hymn divine by Horace taught." End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Vox.org by Lydia. Diffugere nives. The snow is fled, the trees their leaves put on, the fields their green. Earth owns the change, and rivers lessening run their banks between. Naked, the nymphs and graces in the mead the dance essay. No escaping death proclaims the air that speeds this sweet spring day. Frosts yield to zephyrs, summer drives out spring to vanish when rich autumn sheds his fruits. Round wheels the ring, winter again. Yet the swift moons repair heaven's detriment. We soon as trust where good Aeneas, Tullus Ancus went, what are we, dust? Can hope assure you one more day to live from powers above? You rescue from your error whate'er you give the self you love. When life is o'er, and Minos has rehearsed the grand last doom, not birth, nor eloquence, nor worth shall burst Torquatus' tomb. Not Dian's self can chaste Hippolytus to life recall, nor Theseus free his loved Pirithous from Lethe's thrall. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
30th 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Donatem Pateras. Ah, Censorinas, to my comrades true, rich cups, rare bronzes, gladly would I send. Choice tripods from Olympia on each friend would I confer, choicer on none than you. Had but my fate such gems of art bestowed, as cunning Scopas or Parrhasius wrought, this with the brush, that with the chisel, taught to image now a mortal, now a god. But these are not my riches. Your desire such luxury craves not, and your means disdain. A poet's strain you love, a poet's strain accept, and learn the value of the lyre. not public gravings on a marble base, whence comes a second life to men of might e'en in the tomb, not Hannibal's swift flight, nor those fierce threats flung back into his face, not impious Carthage in its last red blaze, in clearer light sets forth his spotless fame, who from crushed Afric took away a name, than rude Calabria's tributary lays. Let silence hide the good your hand has wrought, farewell reward. Had blank Oblivion's power dimmed the bright deeds of Romulus, at this hour, despite his sire and mother, he were naught. Thus Aeacus has scaped the Stygian wave, by grace of poets and their silver tongue, henceforth to live the happy isles among. No, trust the Muse, she opes the good man's grave, and lifts him to the gods. So Hercules, his labours o'er, sits at the board of Jove. So Tyndareus' offspring shine as stars above, saving lorn vessels from the yawning seas. So Bacchus, with the vine wreath round his hair, gives prosperous issue to his votary's prayer. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. March 30th, 2K16, Roebuck, South Carolina. Ne forte credas. Think not those strains can e'er expire, which, cradled mid the echoing roar of Aufidus, to Latium's lyre I sing with arts unknown before. Though Homer fill the foremost throne, yet grave Stesichorus still can please, and fierce Alcaeus holds his own with Pindar and Simonides. The songs of Teos are not mute, and Sappho's love is breathing still. She told her secret to the lute, and yet its chords with passion thrill. Not Sparta's queen alone was fired by broidered robe and braided tress, and all the splendours that attired her lover's guilty loveliness. Not only Teucer to the field his arrows brought, nor Ilion beneath a single conqueror reeled, nor Crete's majestic lord alone, or Sthenelus earned the Muses' crown, not Hector first for child and wife, or brave Deiphobus laid down the burden of a manly life. Before Atrides men were brave, but oblivion, dark and long, has locked them in a tearless grave, for lack of consecrating song. 'Twixt worth and baseness, lapped in death, what difference? You shall ne'er be dumb, while strains of mine have voice and breath. The dull neglect of days to come those hard-won honours shall not blight. No, Lollius, no, a soul is yours, clear-sighted, keen, alike upright, when fortune smiles and when she lowers, to greed and rapine still severe, spurning the gain men find so sweet, a consul not of one brief year. But oft as on the judgment seat you bend the expedient to the right, turn haughty eyes from bribes away, or bear your banners through the fight, scattering the foeman's firm array. The Lord of boundless revenues, salute not him as happy, no, call him the happy who can use the bounty that the gods bestow, can bear the load of poverty, and tremble, not at death, but sin. No recreant he, when called to die in cause of country or of kin. Translator's note. 'Twixt worth and baseness, lapped in death, what difference? I believe I have expressed Horace's meaning, though he has chosen to express himself as if the two things compared were dead worthlessness and uncelebrated worth. By fixing the epithet sepultae to inertiae, he doubtless meant to express that the natural and appropriate fate of worthlessness was to be dead, buried, and forgotten. But the context shows that he was thinking of the effect of death and its consequent oblivion on worth and worthlessness alike, and contending that the poet alone could remedy the undiscriminating and unjust award of destiny. Throughout the first half of the ode, however, Horace has rather failed to mark the transitions of thought. He begins by assuring himself, and by implication those whom he celebrates, of immortality, on the ground that the greatest poets are not the only poets. He then exchanges this thought for another, doubtless suggested by it, that the heroes of poetry are not the only heroes, though the very fact that there have been uncelebrated heroes is used to show that celebration by a poet is everything. Or bear your banners through the fight, scattering the foeman's firm array. It seems, on the whole, simpler to understand this of actual victories obtained by Lollius as a commander than of moral victories obtained by him as a judge. There is harshness in passing abruptly from the judgment seat to the battlefield, but to speak of the judgment seat as itself the battlefield would, I think, be harsher still. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Est mihi nonum. Here is a cask of Alban, more than 9 years old. Here grows green parsley, Phyllis, and good store of ivy too. Wreathed ivy suits your hair, you know. The plate shines bright, the altar, strewn with vervain, hungers for the flow of lambkin's blood. There's stir among the serving folk, they bustle, boy and girl. The flickering flames send up the smoke in many a curl. But why, you ask, this special cheer? We celebrate the feast of Ides, which April's month, to Venus dear, in twain divides. Oh, 'tis a day for reverence, even my own birthday scarce so dear, for my Maecenas counts from thence each added year. 'Tis Telephus that you'd bewitch, but he is of a high degree, bound to a lady fair and rich, he is not free. Oh, think of Phaeton half burnt, and moderate your passion's greed. Think how Bellerophon was burnt by his winged steed. So learn to look for partners meet, shun lofty things, nor raise your aims above your fortune. Come then, sweet, my last of flames, for never shall another fair enslave me. Learn a tune to sing with that dear voice, to music care shall yield its sting. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Jam veris comites. The gales of Thrace that hush the unquiet sea, Spring's comrades on the bellying canvas blow. Clogged earth and brawling streams alike are free from winter's weight of snow. Wailing her Itis in that sad, sad strain, builds the poor bird, reproach to after time of Cecrops' house, for bloody vengeance taken on foul barbaric crime. The keepers of fat lambkins chant their loves to sylvan reeds, all in the grassy lea, and pleasure him who tends the flocks and groves of dark-leaved Arcady. It is a thirsty season, Virgil mine, but would you taste the grape's Calenian juice? Client of noble youth, to earn your wine some nard you must produce. A tiny box of nard shall bring to light the cask that in Sulpician cellar lies. Oh, it can give new hopes, so fresh and bright, and gladden gloomy eyes. You take the bait? Then come without delay, and bring your ware. Be sure 'tis not my plan to let you drain my liquor and not pay, as might some wealthy man. Come, quit those covetous thoughts, those knitted brows, think on the last black embers while you may, and be for once unwise. When time allows, 'tis sweet the fool to play. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
March 31st to XVIII, Roebuck, South Carolina. Audivere Lycae. The gods have heard my prayer. Yes, Lycae, you are growing old, and still you struggle to look fair. You drink and dance and trill your songs to youthful love in accents weak with wine and age and passion. Youthful love, he dwells in Chia's cheek, and hears her harp strings move. Rude boy, he flies like lightning o'er the heath, past withered trees like you. You're wrinkled now. The white has left your teeth and settled on your brow. Your Cohen silks, your jewels bright as stars, ah no, they bring not back the days of old, in public calendars by flying time enrolled. Where now that beauty? Where those movements? Where that colour? What of her is left, who, breathing love's own air, me of myself bereft? Who reigned in Cinara's stead, a fair, fair face, queen of sweet arts. But fate to Cinara gave a life of little space, and now she cheats the grave of Lycae, spared to raven's length of days, that youth may see with laughter and disgust a firebrand once ablaze, now smouldering in grey dust. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sonia. Quae cura patrum. What honours can a grateful Rome, a grateful Senate, Caesar, give, to make thy worth through days to come, emblazoned on our records live? Mightiest of chieftains, whomsoever the sun beholds from heaven on high. They know thee now, thy strength in war, those unsubdued Vindelici. Thine was the sword that Drusus drew, when on the Brunian hordes he fell, and stormed the fierce Genonian crew, even in their Alpine citadel, and paid them back their debt twice told. 'Twas when the elder Nero came to conflict, and in ruin rolled, stout Ratian Cernus of giant frame. Oh, 'twas a gallant sight to see the shocks that beat upon the brave who chose to perish and be free. As south winds scourge the rebel wave, when through rent clouds the Pleiades weep, so keen his force to smite, and smite the foe, or make his charger leap through the red furnace of the fight. Thus Daunia's ancient river fares, proud Aufidus with bull-like horn, when swoln with choler he prepares a deluge for the fields of corn. So Claudius charged and overthrew the grim barbarians' mail-clad host, the foremost and the hindmost slew, and conquered all, and nothing lost. The force, the forethought were thine own the gods. The selfsame day when, port and palace open thrown, low at thy footstool Egypt lay, that selfsame day, 3 lustres gone, another victory to thine hand was given, another field was won, by grace of Caesar's high command. These Spanish tribes, unused to yield, Mede, Indian, Scyth that knows no home, acknowledge sword at once and shield of Italy and queenly Rome. Ister to thee, and Tanais fleet, and Nile that will not tell his birth. To thee the monstrous seas that beat on Britain's coast the end of earth. To thee the proud Iberians bow, and Gauls that scorn from death to flee. The fierce Sygambrian bends his brow, and drops his arms to worship thee. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
.org by Joe Blue. Phoebus Valentum. Of battles fought I fain had told, and conquered towns when Phoebus smote. His harp-string soothed 'twere overbold to tempt white seas in that frail boat. Thy age, great Caesar, has restored to squalid fields the plenteous grain, given back to Rome's almighty Lord. Our standards torn from Parthian fane has closed Kyrenian Janus gate. Wild passions erring walk controlled, healed the foul plague spot of the state, and brought again the life of old, life by whose healthful power increased. The glorious name of Latium spread to where the sun illumes the east, from where he seeks his western bed. While Caesar rules, no civil strife shall break our rest, nor violence rude, nor rage that whets the slaughtering knife, and plunges wretched towns in feud. The sons of Danube shall not scorn the Julian edicts, no, nor they, by Tene's distant river born, nor Persia, Scythia, or Cathay. And we on feast and working tide, while Bacchus' bounties freely flow, our wives and children at our side, first paying heaven the prayers we owe, shall sing of chiefs whose deeds are done, as wont our sires to flute or shell. And Troy, Anchises, and the son of Venus on our tongues shall dwell. End of recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain.